And he's giving the spiel like, listen, like the battle speech, like not all of us are going to make it. Right? So all the thing I hear is we're going to war with the DC car. So I get in the cell and he's like, all right, all of us ain't going to make it. He goes, and some things are worth spending the rest of your life or giving your life for. But one thing ain't going to happen, man. These people ain't going to just do us any kind of way. So y'all get ready Friday morning. We're going to meet them on the rec yard. We got a day and a half. Call your people, let them know, because this is finna go down. So I said, hey, I have a question. Right? So, yeah, what's up, man? I said, why are we going to war? I said, what happened? I go, ain't nobody ever told me what happened. Why are we going to war? Iceman put his head down. Because one of them dudes.
Hey, this is Matt Cox, and Zach and I are going to do a podcast about, I want to say funny prison stories, or just really just prison stories.
I mean, that's definitely not the life, but it's a different life.
Yeah.
And we feel it's worth exposing.
Yeah. Well,
there are things that happen that we thought were hilarious.
You don't really watch YouTube, but there's a lot of guys that have YouTube channels, and all these guys that, not all these guys, but I get a lot of guys that are like, you got to tell prison stories. Okay, listen, I don't have the prison stories that guys like Wes Watson have. Like, there's a guy named Wes Watson who's like, and I told that motherfucker, I told him, you're going to go out there and put in some work. So I suitcased that shank, and it's like, whoa. And we were at war, and I went into the rec yard, and I stabbed that. And it's like, what are you, bro? I'm a white-collar criminal. I'm not stabbing anybody. What are you doing? I don't have those stories. Like, these other guys have channels that are completely predicated on these horrible, vicious stories. And a lot of those stories, by the way, don't even happen to those guys.
No.
Like, they'll tell you, so there was this guy one time in the pen, and his name was Bobby. Well, Bobby, and then they'll tell you a story about, it wasn't even him. It was Bobby's story, and he may not even have known Bobby. He just, told him about Bobby.
Right.
Because nobody can go through the amount of violence and riots and stabbings and all the things that these guys are covering in their content in anybody's span of prison. And if you notice, these guys, a lot of guys think that you and Bobby were buddies. No, I didn't even know Bobby.
Right.
Or I knew Bobby one time, and he told me about a fight he got into at another prison. And now I'm telling that story on YouTube.
As if it's your own.
Right. And I don't want to do that.
No.
Like, I don't want to tell somebody else's story, a third-party story, because every time the stories always continue to get diluted. Yes.
Some of them are urban legends, and
right.
The riot of 2008,
yeah.
like all the things that were you there for this, and it's all ginned up, and like both of us started off at the Medium,
right?
And so the people would come there and tell us, oh man, if this was a pen, this was a penitentiary, these kind of things wouldn't go on,
Yeah.
And all that's not the case,
But different, because you went to a pen eventually.
That's exactly right.
So we both entered prison on bank fraud charges at the Medium.
The Medium, yes.
Only I was a good inmate, and I got to go down. Zach went up. I mean,
which everyone
wasn't
thought was
my fault.
I know everyone thought was quite a feat. When I got to the pen, people go, "You started off at the Medium?" Yes, kind of went in the wrong direction, buddy.
So when did you get? When did you actually get to Coleman?
I think I arrived at Coleman in April of 2008, and that was my first time in prison. I had been in county most of the time. All the time I did was in county jail, so that was my first bout with prison. And then to enter there with like 16 years was insane. So once I got there, I just kind of told myself, well, what I'll do is I'll click up with people who have similar crimes.
Right.
Because I hear a medium prison, it's not super violent. There's a little violence, but you can avoid it, which was kind of accurate. So
right.
It was my goal to meet up with people because I'm like, this is the feds. So I'm not dealing with some crackhead on the corner that the cop picked up.
Yeah, these aren't guys that are breaking into people's houses
No.
and stealing purses.
These are it's supposed to be people who organized and put criminal organizations together or had their own business and were doing different things that might be on the level upon which I was accused of doing, right? So I'm thinking this is going to be a graduation, and unfortunately, it didn't.
There's still a lot of crackheads. There's still a lot of guys.
Yes. It's still a lot of idiots. So when I'm at Coleman 2 months, and of course, like your arrest was televised. I'm sure you've covered that. And when you got to Coleman, it became a big deal. Like because everyone knew me as the frauder when I got there.
And there's not a lot of fraud guys in mediums.
Right.
Go ahead.
There's not.
Sorry.
So they're like, hey, Matt Cox is here. I'm like, what? They said Matt Cox. I knew of you because of articles that they ran in the Tampa paper.
Right.
When they were looking for you. Right. And I'm like, oh, now this dude. I remember saying to myself, this dude knows what he's doing. Like, I actually idolize you. I'm like, this man knows what he's doing.
Didn't you tell me you actually told your wife?
I told my wife, I go, I would love to meet this dude, but the only place I'd meet this guy is federal prison. And guess what?
A couple years later.
Bam!
Wow.
Fate just brought it together. So my point is, I hear you're on the compound, and I'm like, where is he? And so a buddy of mine, I guess his name was Sheldon. We were trying to remember.
It was Sheldon. I'm telling you. I think it was definitely his name was Sheldon. He had a mullet.
He had a mullet. He was a complete weird gun.
Like mullets are coming back now.
No,
they weren't then. Like
they were
they were
in 2008. They weren't coming back.
No.
In fact,
they
the
were
rumor
way
of
out.
them coming back was kind of put the rest. So he told me he could arrange an introduction. I said, get out of here. I said, please introduce me to the infamous Matt Cox. Now, of course, you've been on the compound a couple of weeks, and I don't know what's going on in your world. Like, what was going on in the first couple of weeks you got there?
Yeah, so I got there, and essentially, I'm a soft white guy, and I get to
marshmallow, I think is what they called you.
I get to the medium,
spongy, I think.
I get to the medium, and like literally within the first or second day, I've got guys coming up to me going, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?"
What kind of guys?
Black guys.
Big black guys?
Big black guys.
Of course.
Like your worst nightmare. Only like a little white guy's worst nightmare is to like get a celly who's like 6'2", black guy that is like aggressive. But these guys weren't aggressive.
They were kind of romantic.
They were trying. They were like, I can light some candles, put on some soft music. Why don't you come to my place around 7? What's going on?
Lil Marvin Gaye.
So
highlight on gay.
So this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, come, "Let me talk to you over here." And I walk over and I'm like, "What's up?" "Well, let me talk to you over here alone." And I went, "Oh, bro, what's up?" Like I know something's wrong. You want to try and get me into the corner? Stand where the camera can see me. So I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "Oh, you need anything?" "Like what?" And he's like, "Oh, you need anything? Like you need tennis shoes? What size you? I'm gonna get you some tennis shoes." "No, I'm good with tennis shoes." "You ain't got no tennis shoes. You got tennis shoes? What's up?" Like I threw a little.
Probably not a good question.
Listen, I threw some bass in my voice. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, man? What's up? What's up?" I'm standing up straight, pull the shoulder back. Like he's still 6'2", So they're like, you need. I get you whatever you need, bro. I get you. I take care of you. I can't. Whoa. That's awfully friendly of you. Why? What? To what do I deserve this friendship? "I'm just saying, I'm looking for me a friend." And I went, "That seems like a friendly place. I'm sure you'll find a friend." Like now I'm realizing the way you're talking to me is uncomfortable. And he's like, "I'm just saying, you and he started like in prison, gay guys are punks. He's like, I'm saying you a punk, right? I mean, you gay, right?" And I went, No, absolutely not. Because look, on the masculine scale, like I'm not a 10. You know, I'm like a 5 on the masculine scale. But in prison, I'm a 2 because the scale's skewed.
It is skewed, and it's skewed by the way you talk, because I had the same accusation.
Right.
But it's just the intelligence equals, I guess, weakness or gayness.
Right.
In a prison setting.
Right. I'm still saying please and thank you. I'm still, what a mistake that was. I'm still acting like a civilized person, and these guys are just ridiculous.
It's a shock. The change in culture is shocking.
Right.
You're like shocked.
And it takes years, but it slowly changes you. So so this guy, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm good. I don't need nothing. No, not gay. Pass it around. We're good. No, I'm just saying, man. I just walked off. Look, the next day, I'm walking on the compound. Some big black guy. No offense, I'm not saying I'm not making an accusation. Another big black guy comes to me and says, "Hey, talk to you for a second." I'm like, I'm walking to the rec yard. Well, yeah, what's up? I work in the kitchen, man. I'm just saying, if you need anything, let me know. I went, okay. I'm saying, you need anything, like I get you anything. Like, bro, you need some shoes, I take care of them. I'm like, shoes in the kitchen? What? He's like, they
want you barefoot.
Yeah, I got you. He's like, I get good money. I make good money. Like, I get money sent in. It's like, you need anything, man? You know what I'm saying? You need them. Like, no, bro, I don't need nothing. I'm good. You just give me a list. Let me know. Like, what do you mean give you? I'm good. Thank you. No. Keep walking. Another guy. Man, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you myself for a minute. And I remember this one. Do you remember the guy Bear?
I remember Bear.
Bear hangs out.
Bear had a bathrobe, didn't he?
Yeah. So Bear also had a bunch of buddies that he hung out with, and there were a couple guys standing by his door, and another couple of his buddies standing over here. And Bear says, "Can I talk to you?" And I walk out to the rail. This is on this top tier. I walk over the rail. And Bear goes, "Let me talk to you in my cell for a second." And I glance, and I'm like, "Well, why? What's up?" "Well, let me talk to you in my cell for a second." And I look, and I can see a couple of his buddies off to the side, and I can see a couple other buddies to the side. And I remember I grabbed onto the rail, and I went, "No, I'm good here, bro." Because I remember thinking, they could try and rush me and pull me in the cell. Like, in the cell? There ain't no fucking camera. No. Like, there's no camera pointing into the cell. No. So, and I remember, I said, no, he looked at me, he goes, "Man, let me I said, "No, I'm good here." He's like, "Man, let me just talk to you in my cell for a second." I looked at him, I said, "No, bro." He goes, what, you think I'm going to try something? I said, "If I don't go in your cell, I don't have to find out. What is it you need, bro?" And he went,
a lot of bass then.
Oh, I'm ready to jump over I'm ready to jump over off the top tier. I'm so concerned at this point. And I'm just saying, man, I got whatever you need, bro. I got marijuana. I got whatever you need, man. I can get you. Like, you need some tennis shoes. I see you walking around in the boots all the time, man. Let me give you some tennis shoes. I said, "Nah, bro, we're done. I said, "No, we're done." I said, "I'm good. Just, bro, no offense. Leave me alone. Not interested. Not going to your cell. Don't need anything from you. I'm good. I appreciate it." I didn't even walk away right away because I didn't want to let go of the rail. I waited till he kind of turned a little bit to look over at his buddies, and I turned around, grabbed with the other hand, and kind of walked along holding the rail because I'm that concerned.
Scared, like.
Oh, yeah. Very, very. Remember how the showers were right in the middle of the you take a shower? Guys could actually go up on the top rail and look down on you taking a shower.
I never even knew that.
Yeah. Remember how the showers were in
they were, but I didn't know people could look.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember seeing you could look up at the top rail.
Yeah, but they can go up there and look down on you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it was, the whole setup ain't good. But keep in mind, there were places you could be alone. Like, there was no cameras, but very few. Anyway, yeah, I'm definitely staying in front of the cameras. The first couple of weeks, I didn't even go in my cell unless
they were locking the door.
They were locking the door. Because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, it's a bad situation. Then I'm in the rec yard one day, and you come up to me.
Well, at that point, like I said, I heard you were on the compound. So I'm like, this is the opportunity. And then they pointed him out, like, there's Matt Cox. Sheldon. I'm like, whoa. So then I'm walking up, smiling. I'm like, "Hey, Matt Cox, come here. Let me holler at you for a second real quick." I go, "Hey, I heard you and I got a lot in common." And you just kind of went, "Oh, Jesus."
and walked off.
Well, stormed off quickly. But anyway,
Yeah, then
do
Sheldon.
y'all ever give up? No, anyway.
Sheldon comes up to me. Yeah, I remember thinking, is this what the next 26 years is going to be like? I mean, these guys can't take a hint.
Like all of them.
And then
even the soft one like you. But anyway, go ahead.
And then I remember the next day, yeah, Sheldon came. It was like the next day or day after. Sheldon came up and said, look, I got a buddy of mine wants to talk to you, and I want to make an introduction. I go, why? Because now I'm suspect of everybody. I know, black guys, white guys, Hispanic. Like, I'm not here to make friends. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't trust anybody. And so Sheldon's like, I got a buddy that wants to talk to you, and I would like to make an introduction. And I went, why? He's like, well, I mean, he tried to talk to you the other day, and he said he walked up and started to say hey to you, and you just walked off. Like, he thinks maybe you're prejudiced or something. I don't know. And I looked at him and I went, was this a black guy? He's like, yeah. And I go, what does he want to talk to me for? And he goes, well, he's here for fraud. I went, fraud? And he goes, yeah. And I go, where is he? Why didn't he start with fraud? And then I tracked you down. We started talking and hanging out.
I know. And we never got along after that. But
I remember that's the thing about the Sheldon crack was that Sheldon was 145 pounds, 5'8" or 9", 145 pounds.
Mullet.
Had a mullet. White
with the
guy.
With the spiked top.
Ridiculous.
With the spiked top.
Ridiculous. Just looked straight white trash. And just
Trailer.
a complete nerd, a white trash nerd.
Gun advocate.
Yeah, gun
nerd.
nut.
He's moving to Alaska so he can have a gun to hunt. Like, I'm always gonna have a gun.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, just a complete geek. And I remember one time I was there, and Reese was there, this guy we know. And so Reese was there, and I remember, and Sheldon goes, he's talking about something. Somehow or another, Sheldon ended up saying, you see these? These are lethal weapons.
Yes.
And Reese goes, those are dick beaters. Don't
which are also lethal.
Yeah.
But
don't overestimate yourself, Sheldon. Yeah, but Sheldon
meaning he had fast hands.
Yeah.
But
Sheldon, and real quick, like I told you earlier, you didn't know this, but Sheldon actually, when he got out, he had another buddy that was incarcerated. That buddy was like, hey, go to here's the address where my wife lives. So when you get out of the halfway house, you can go to her. She'll help you find you a place to stay, help get you a car, the whole thing. Right. Sheldon goes there, talks to the guy's wife. She lets him stay on the couch for a few weeks. And then so the guy's calling home, and Sheldon's there, hey, yeah, I'm here, I'm getting a job, I'm this, she's helping me out, I appreciate it. After a few weeks, the wife stops answering the phone. Right. Guy keeps calling. After another few weeks, finally the wife answers the phone and says, don't call anymore. I'm with Sheldon now. Ooh. And hangs up the phone on him. Can you imagine? Listen, out of anybody that I wouldn't want my wife to leave me for, it's Sheldon. It's first leaving me at all.
Well, of course
it's bad
lie.
Enough.
If it was him, you have to lie. Well, of course, it was a great looking guy.
Of course, he was a doctor. I'm incarcerated. He's a doctor. I get it. But Sheldon?
Yeah. They're like, no, actually, this is the guy.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, please. No, not at all. So unfortunately for me,
right,
I got into the middle of some controversy at the Coleman Medium.
Right.
But you stayed on the right path and went to the low.
Yes. Yeah. Good times.
Unfortunately for me, I take another road, which involves taxes or something.
Yeah. Well, they a bunch of guys got grabbed.
Yes.
And some of them said that you were helping or organizing guys to file for the drop for false income taxes, which is a combination of identity theft and, of course, fraud against the United States government, which you didn't do. Right. But these guys said that you were involved in it. Here's the reason, not only because I believe Zach, but also the time frame that I know this happened. Literally, Zach had gone to court fighting his sentence, went to court, was gone for I always say you were gone for 8 months or 10 or a year or something. How long? 10 months. So gone for 10 months. I actually moved to the Medium He showed up.
You went to the low.
I'm sorry. I went to the low from the medium. You showed up like a month later,
Yeah,
right?
like 2 weeks later.
Oh, 2 weeks later.
Yes.
So we missed each other.
Yeah, because you wrote my sister.
Right, right. And I remember too, she wouldn't pass letters anymore. That was like, she was like that. That was like one letter. She was like, look, you wrote me a letter back. You were like, look, I had to beg my sister to pass the letter along. She's not gonna do this.
Right. Consistently.
Right. So it was only a few weeks later when you got grabbed. Like, there's no way for you to have organized what they said you were doing within a few weeks. Like, I got back to the medium, and boom, a month later, I'm collecting taxes. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like, it's not possible.
Right. But they clearly put that on me.
Right.
Anyway, it was all botched.
Right.
The whole thing was.
But it went on your jacket.
It went on my jacket. Well, because they couldn't get criminal charges.
Right.
Like, because I talk about it with a couple people I still stay in touch with. They decided to just dirty up my jacket and send me to the pen.
Right.
Matter of fact, when they sent me to the pen on the day that we were packing out, I'm asking, where am I going? And they told me, you're going somewhere where you won't ever think about filing taxes again.
Nice.
That's exactly what they told me. I'm like,
Good times.
hopefully it's home. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So you went to the pen. You went to what?
USP Beaumont.
Right. Which, if in your guys in the prison system actually call it Bloody Beaumont.
Bloody Beaumont.
Yeah.
And yes. So fear level up to here. Needless to say, I'm terrified. Like I'm hoping it takes me 6 months to get there so I can get my mind adapted.
Right.
Right. I spent a week in Tallahassee. Right. And the morning I left Tallahassee that morning, hoping that I'd be in Oklahoma maybe a couple of weeks.
Right.
And I arrived at Beaumont that night.
Fastest transfer ever.
Matter of fact, I probably would have arrived at Beaumont the same day I left. That's how fast they get in there. So once I get there, I'm terrified. So I'd say I got to put bass in my voice. I got to sound tough. I'd already figured out my plan of sounding tough so I can make it in the pen. Now, some of the people I were with, for us soft people who are at the medium, they were telling me, just get there and check in. Just get there and check in. Meaning just go into the whole protective custody as soon as you get there.
Yeah, for what? The next 10 years?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to myself. I'm like, well, I'm not a coward, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really cooperate. My paperwork's straight. I didn't really cooperate. So I mean, I don't understand why I would have to check in. Why couldn't I just walk?
Right.
But logically told me that I'm kind of smart, so I'll act like I know the law. I'll make myself invaluable to the people. Right. And that way they'll make it, hey, don't hit him. He's the lawman. You know what I'm saying? He can help me get out. Don't mess with this one.
That's what Pete did. My buddy Pete. He said you very quickly have to figure out if you're not in a gang and you don't want to be in a gang and you don't want to do this, you have to figure out what makes me valuable so nobody bothers me.
Exactly. So that was my plan. So I acted like I knew the law, which horrible mistake, because then I have to listen to a bunch of people. That there's some upticks. I can walk the compound, then I have to listen to a bunch of idiots. Right. But it worked out. So that was my claim to fame of surviving at the pen.
But you really don't know. Well, you do know some. You did a lot of your own legal work in the medium. Yes. So you know some of the basics.
I learned that day one from Barrington. Barrington did my 2255 for like $300.
Barrington.
Right, yes. And I learned from him. So it's kind of like on the fly. So what I picked up and learned, because honestly, the first day I went for law, I looked in the computer and I'm like, can somebody tell me how this applies to my case?
Yeah, it's bad.
Literally, that's how little I knew about it. And to 2 years later, telling everyone I'm a legal genius and pulling it off. So obviously at the pen, I got into a couple of confrontations. Right. And that's kind of like what we were.
So it wasn't smooth sailing.
No, it wasn't smooth. It's not as bad as the stories that they make it out to be. Right. But it's bad because I would say I myself witnessed about 3 murders where I heard the person died, where I've seen the person attacked and laying there. Right. And then I heard they died. And the whole time I was there for 6 years. And the whole time I was there, I think 18 people died. So I've seen 3. But look, I was there during 2 hurricanes where there was no water. That was the worst 6 years of my life. That was the worst 6 years of my life. Now,
including your marriage?
Including what?
Your marriage?
Well, that was pretty. Well, that ended up.
I always say that my
that
marriage
was awesome. In the beginning, it was awesome.
My marriage prepared me for prison. So it's like,
What was it like for you when you left?
What at the low?
Yes.
I mean, it was going from the medium to the low was like going from, sleeping on a park bench to going to like a 5-star to going to like the Ritz-Carlton. What are you talking about? I was like,
was it cleaner or something? Or?
No. Actually, it actually, there were, what was worse? It was worse because it was a
open bay.
It was an open bay pod that sucked. Like at least you had at least in the medium you had a room. You could close the door. It was quiet. It is never quiet. Like when you talk to people, they're always like, "Prison must be so lonely." I wish it was lonely. It's always loud. There's always screaming. You're never alone. There's no privacy. I mean, like basically it's like the bathrooms. It's 180 guys per unit trying to use 5 toilets and maybe 8 showers, and there's always lines. And so even if you're going to the bathroom, like you're taking a shit, there's a guy on a divider. It's not like if it's even its own thing. It's like going to the movie theater. That's where you're going to the bathroom. There's always a guy next to you. There's always yes. It's just disgusting, and it is. It's disgusting, and it's filthy, and everybody's screaming and hollering, and the cells are horrible, and the whole situation's bad. But there were a lot more smart guys there. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's important because you're probably the best person I affiliated with there.
In the medium.
Yes, because like I could relate and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Everybody else was. I mean, but you helped me when we were teaching GED. I mean, you remember the guy that's like, "Hey, I don't know how to add and subtract." And remember we asked him like, "You don't know how to add and subtract?"
I remember.
How do you make? I mean, what about change when you're getting change? Oh, I let my bitch count it.
Oh yeah. I was like, well, you go, what if she counts it wrong? I put that pipe on her. She count that shit right. Know what I'm saying?
Like, we and Matt look like, well, that pipe will straighten them out.
Yeah.
That will straighten the bitch.
Do you remember the guy when I first got there and I was doing the GED and I was trying to teach the guy how to do like just basic, just fractions, like basic math. And we were like, it's like an hour in and he just could not get it. Like he'd been in a car accident. He had a scar. He was a Spanish guy. Right. And so he just couldn't get it. And I went, and he's like, I was like, you're just not grasping this. And he's like, I know, man, I got, I was hit in the car accident. And he's going through this whole thing. I said, yeah, honestly, bro, what do you think I should do? And I went, I think you should just go back to the unit. And I said, because some people they're just not going to be able to get certain things. And so I was kind of explaining, and it's not a judgment or anything. It's just some people just don't grasp everything, and you're not going to get your GED, obviously, and that's not going to happen. And they were in the skills class anyway, where they weren't going to get it.
Yes.
So I remember he was like, so you think I should go back? And I was like, yeah. I was like, Zach, I was like, this guy's just going to have to go back. And I tried to explain to you, and you went, no, he has to stay here. Like, you don't get to excuse them. What are you doing? And I'm like, no, he's not going to get it. He's like, it doesn't matter that he's not going to get it. He doesn't get to go back to the unit. He has to stay here. Keep trying. I'm like, no, he's never going to get it, Zach. He's like, none of them are going to get it. These are not.
Some of them did, but
they just didn't. Some of them just didn't care. No, and I like the guys that were honest and were just saying, listen, bro, I don't need this because I'm going to get out in about a year and I'm just going to sell drugs. Like, it was like, at least he's honest. Like, at least he's like, I don't want to learn this because I'm just going to go back to selling drugs. This is my life. I get out, I sell drugs, I come back, I get out. This is it.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, at least he's honest.
And the yo-yo effect works. I guess out, in. So, but yes, so you learned the caliber. So the caliber at the medium from what we knew from the teaching the GED.
Sorry, I keep thinking about getting that.
What?
I was just thinking about some of the things that these guys did.
Oh,
sorry,
yes.
Sorry that they would say, and I would always look over at Zach, and he'd be like,
"Oh yeah,
you had to write 3-letter words," and the guy had written like it was like dog, cat. He wrote what do you say? Fit, and we were like fit, like Like,
yeah, I remember.
like to work out fit? Like,
Nah,
you, and he's like, nah, fit.
I fit to do it.
Yeah, he goes, we were like, you use it. He goes, use it in a sentence. He goes, I fit to go back to the unit.
I fit to do it.
And I looked at Zach, and Zach goes, well, I mean,
it works. Listen, we had a blast. That's the stupidity. Like a lot of times we be sitting there, we look at each other like, push past it. Just push past it. Push past the stupidity. It's big. Just step around it. If you can't step over it, let's go around it. It was crazy. It was crazy. But imagine meeting that same clique of people, but more in the pen.
Right. And there's nobody to talk to.
No. Very, very, very few. But I'm going to tell you what's the difference is with the ignorance of the pen, those guys for some reason have better people skills. Honestly, just to be straight up honest, their ability to read people is like above normal. Their
Right.
ignorance of like maths, of basic things and reading, super low, but their survival instincts of being able to tell what people are up to or just to be able to read them,
Right.
excellent. And so their instincts are excellent. Their intellect is horrible. So just being around them was very challenging. But it was, and so those type of situations made things violent.
Right.
It's like they would kind of predict, like, you know, I can tell that you got an attitude about this, and we're gonna have a problem. Like
The moment
that's what tell you that.
I always say the moment they get somebody like the moment some guy who's like with a low IQ, the moment they get frustrated, their go-to move is violence.
Yes.
Like they can't reason it out. They can't determine, like they can't figure out what the recourse is of going down this path. It's immediately violence will solve this problem for me.
Immediately, I'll eliminate that
Right.
issue immediately with violence.
Yeah.
And so I dealt with a lot of. I didn't teach GED there. Like I said, I just did law work, but I dealt with a lot of those situations. Now, in the pen, what happens is where you're from is automatically clicks you up with certain people.
Yeah, in the
so
car.
they call them cars. So you have to ride with certain people based on either your color of your skin, if you're in a gang,
Right.
or from what part of the United States you're from.
Right. So if you're not in a gang, you don't say, "Hey, I'm a Crip," and you go with the Crips. If you're not in that, you can still go there. You don't have to join the gang, but you need to click up with your car. You need to be
with
right.
different things. All right, so obviously when I got this was a mistake of mine because I went to college in Texas.
Right.
So I could have claimed Texas.
Right.
Which would have been not a large step or a full step up from Florida, but it would have been a step up. So I told him I was from Florida. Now, Florida, unfortunately, has a lot of what they call jackers, which are gentlemen that masturbate out. These are what do they call those guys that expose themselves in public?
Like flashers.
Flashers. So a jacker in prison is basically a flasher in action.
And there's two kinds of jackers. There's gunners, which get up close to you, and snipers, which do it from a distance.
Yes. And Florida, unfortunately for me, Florida had
Colby's
a
like
lot of gun and snipers. Some of them were versatile and could go back and forth.
You know what Colby's thinking right now? I could have been working for Graham Stephan. No. Go ahead.
So horrible car for me to get in.
Right.
So I'm in this car and like this becomes an issue. So when you're in a car, what happens is they call a meeting. Hey, we got a meeting on the rec yard. And a lot of times the staff let it go on so where everybody from your car, so I'm from Florida, we all stand around and one person will stand there and go, all right, man, this is what's going on. Blah, blah, blah. And one guy will dictate what's going on. So one of the first meetings I went to, all right, man, this is what's going on. We got a problem with Billy in the chow hall jacking. So we're going to have to remove him from the compound. So all the new people that just got here ain't put in work. We're going to need y'all to put in work. So I'm getting pulled up like, okay, put in work. What do you need me to move some furniture or what? Yeah, I mean, I do the application. What do y'all need me to do? Go, no, you're going to beat up and possibly stab Billy for gunning in the kitchen.
Oh, no.
But
no.
I'm like, I don't even know Billy. And I haven't seen him gunning, so I don't know what's the problem. But anyway, so they send me and four other people to take care of Billy. Never done this before in my life. Never done this. So
if you walked in and I knew you, I'd be like, I'm gonna be fine. It's just Zach.
Well, believe it or not, okay. So believe it or not,
Did you walk in with the glasses? Did you take the glasses off?
I had the glasses on. I had the prison glasses on. I should have worn them.
Man, the Chomo 2000s.
Yeah, the Chomo 2000s.
Big thick ass like this.
So apparently, this came out funny because we were gonna beat him up. So like I get with somebody and they're like, "Look, we'll get him down and you just kick him in the face."
Can I hold him down? Jeez.
So this was the plan, but the guy that led us, obviously, Billy was kind of a tough guy, and Billy wasn't afraid of the guy that led the pack. So we all got together and we're gonna go tell him to check in. They were gonna tell him to go and tell the officer his life's in danger to go check in, right? And that's what he was gonna have to do.
And wait, and Billy is in your car. He's from Florida.
Yes, he's from Florida.
So you're basically kicking out one of your own.
And that was the purpose of a car, is to
keep people in line.
Keep your people in line. And if there was a problem between my car and another car, then both of us would talk, and they would arrange whether the two people would fight in the different cars, one-on-one, or whether we'd go to war. It all depends on what the situation was.
Right.
So I'm just giving you, because there was a situation where it's supposed to be a war.
Right.
You know, and believe it or not, in this, because
did Billy check in? What happened?
I have
Sorry.
a joke. There's a joke. It's hard.
Okay.
I got to tell the story.
Okay.
All right. So what happened is, one time I kind of prevented a war, which was crazy. But as I was there a while, I kind of moved up in ranks, because I guess either I was level-headed or I spoke intelligently,
right,
or whatever it was, or I would say what other people were thinking they weren't. But people get used to you and they give you that type of title or role. All right, so for the Billy situation, we approached him, and there was a gentleman that approached him that obviously Billy wasn't scared of. So the gentleman's telling Billy, hey, listen, man, we know you've been jacking in the kitchen. You need to go up top. So Billy's standing there. We approached him. I'm sorry. He just come out of the chow hall. We got him in an area where there's no camera, right? And he has his apple, and he's standing there, and the guy is telling him, hey, his last name was Kitchens. Hey, you need to go up top, right? We know what you've been jacking. You need to go up top. So he's standing there, and he looks at this guy. Then he looks at all four of us there. Then he bites his apple. And he's chewing it like very animated, right? Ain't nobody. Who said they saw me jacking? I want to know who it is. So the guy's like, listen, man, it don't matter who saw you jacking. You got to go up top. He like, I ain't going up top. I have a fair hearing to find out who said they saw me jacking. Ain't nobody saw me when I was jacking. I want to know who it is, right? So he's standing there eating the apple. So I'm telling myself, I'm like, okay, the problem is, because the guy goes, man, this is really serious. And I'm like, the problem is he's not really thinking it's serious. I go, I think he thinks he can whip all four of us. Because he's looking at all of us in the face like, are you kidding? He's probably thinking, are you kidding me? They sent the B team. I'm going to get out of this. But fortunately for all of us, there was one A team member standing next to Billy, and he drew back and hit Billy cold cock in the side, knocked him completely out. Boom! He hits the floor, apples rolling. He's laying face down in the corridor. The other two guys, not the guy that was talking, the other two go up, kick him in the face about 8 times. I'm standing there, so they look back at me. I walk over, they go, no, let's go. I didn't even have to touch him, and I ran. That was my first Call of Duty. I actually
did nothing
and got labeled as putting in work.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Because I was in a car.
Right.
Within my first 3 months there, it was insane. Did you want to give a low story? Did you have any
a low story?
Did you have any problem while you were over there at the low?
What did I have? I mean, I only had the one where I was in the. I had the one story where. I'm trying to think of physical contact stories. Okay, so, there was one story. There's this guy named, I think I told this on Concrete, but there was a guy named Ellis Cook. Ellis Cook had been to state prison 2 or 3 times. He'd actually gone to state. He'd actually gone to trial multiple times and won, because state, you got a chance of winning.
Right.
Like he'd actually won. He actually, when he was like 18, 19 years old, robbed another drug dealer while the guy was home. Like basically it was a home invasion. I mean, you can get 20 years, you know? So he's looking at 20 something years. He actually broke in the guy's house and beat the guy's ass. And the guy knew it was him because he'd ripped him off the money back. The guy called the cops. They came and got him. He basically said he broke in and stole money.
Right.
And he said, but I know who it is. And they went, they got him. He went to trial. He won. So, but he'd been to trial several times, been to state prison several times. And so Cook got to the medium. Cook got to the low, right. And I'd been there for years, and we used to watch Walking Dead all the time in the white TV room, right? Because you have the black TV room, Hispanic, and the white, but the whites and Hispanics were the minority. So then you had the big TV room was the black TV room. So role reversal.
Big blacks is why. But
so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what ended up happening was Cook came in, and Cook immediately started, dictating everything. Like, because he was like, as opposed to the bulk of us, he's like a real criminal. And he had gotten there and immediately showed his paper, like walked in, boom, here's my like his deck sheet that shows like all your charges and what your sentence is. Boom, minimum mandatory. I got armed career criminal. I got 180 months. So I got 15 years. Armed career criminal. Okay, good. Like guys are like, they're not even asking to see his PSI. But he was offering. He's like, look, Brooke, I'm getting my sister to send my PSI right now. Right. He said, but this is my thing. So people saw that sheet and immediately were like, he's a stand-up guy. He's a stand-up guy. So, right? So he's walking around telling people, calling everybody snitches and chomos, and those chomos, he can't be coming in the TV room, and this. And you have to think there's out of 1,800 inmates, really 2,000. So really it's close to 2,000 inmates in the low. Half of them have sex charges. Now, they may not be there for a sex charge, but so like let's say 30% are there for an actual sex charge, like they actually got caught like looking at child porn. Right. The other ones, they are sex offenders on other charges. Right. Or there's a rape in their past, or there's a sex offense in their past, whatever. They're there on another charge.
Remind me, I have a question to ask you about that. I just remembered. But go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
Okay, so what happens is I want to watch The Walking Dead. We've been watching The Walking Dead for 3 or 4 years. So what ends up happening is Cook comes in. He's been there 6 months. Like he came in middle of The Walking Dead.
Cocky guy. So
right. He just but everybody's letting him do it. Now, granted, listen, he's a big guy. He's aggressive. He's He's probably 5'10", 5'11", probably 195 pounds, 200 pounds, but in great shape. Like he's a wood. He's a guy who works out every day. He's in great shape. So he comes in, and so Walking Dead had just ended, and like the crew of guys that watched Walking Dead, within that 6 months started getting shipped and moving or getting out. And then it got down to where the top guys in the room that watched Walking Dead, I was basically like me and one other guy were the top guys. And everybody else that watched it were newcomers or basically sex offenders who weren't even allowed in the TV room except to watch Walking Dead. They would come in there. Cook didn't like that. So when they're writing they're writing up the schedule, and everybody's like, hey, I want to watch this on this day, and they're writing the schedule, I said, hey, Walking Dead starts on Sunday nights. And he goes, yeah, bro, we ain't watching that anymore. We're watching Stone Cold Steve Austin. We're Broken Skull Ranch. And I went, no, bro. We're watching Walking Dead. And he goes, nah, man, we ain't watching that. And so there's a guy doing the schedule, but Cook's like sitting down. Cook's like, we ain't watching that. And I go, no, we are watching that. And I could tell it. Cook's a fucking prick, bro. Yeah. What?
Where did the aggression come from?
With who?
With you.
I mean, no. Well, obviously. I mean, look, I'm playing in prison. I'm playing.
You know what?
You're playing a part,
right? The entitlement. You've been there for a while.
You're thinking,
yeah, you're thinking everybody's. But listen, I got this.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
Oh yeah, look, I got my little piece of real estate. This is my chair.
Yeah, that's right. My spot.
Right.
Yeah. So
like I let somebody hold my spot, but when I want to watch, I only barely ever watch TV. But when I want to watch this movie, Like basically you've got it 90% of the time, but you're holding my spot. And when I want to watch a movie, you're just hit. You can just stand up. Like, but guys are
you had street credit,
right. Well, because I've been there so long.
I got you. I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
So, oh no, it gets worse. Like Cook and I go back and forth. Like Cook's like, no, we're going back and forth, and he's like, man, bro, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. And I said, it is happening. I go, do you know why it's happening, Cook? And he goes, why? I go, because I've been here 5 years and you just got here. That's why it's happening. Oh yeah. And he's all like, he like snickers and laughs. He goes, motherfucker, you ain't doing shit. I said, okay, we'll see. I said, listen, come Sunday, I said, I'm turning that fucking TV. I said, that's all you need to worry about. So I said, you can put your little thing on the list or not. I said, but the fact is, I'm going to turn the TV. I got up and walked off. Now, by the way, I'm not turning the TV. Cook would beat the brakes off me. He'd beat me like a small child. It would have been embarrassing.
But the act was gone.
Of course.
Like you got around the corner like.
I mean, how many times have you acted like a badass knowing I'm not following through? I'm trying to push this guy, to get this guy. Look, I act like a tough guy in front of my girlfriend, even though both of us know that if push comes to shove, she looks at me and she's like, I will beat your soft ass. Like she'll tell me all the time. She'll look at me and go, like, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. But I act like, oh, I wish you would. I wish you would. She's like,
bring it.
She starts laughing. She's like, stop it.
I will beat your soft ass.
So what happens with Cook is, so over the next couple of days, I'm literally getting all these other guys. I'm like, listen, guys are coming up to me like, bro, I heard you had an issue. I mean, we're still are we watching The Walking Dead? We're watching it. Just do me a favor. We're all going to show up 30 minutes early, crowd the TV room, and they're like, and you're going to turn the channel? You're really going to turn the channel? I'm going to turn the channel, bro. I swear I'll turn it. They're like, you sure? I'm like, man, I'm going to turn that channel. Don't even worry about it. I'm turning it. So we show up, and then so Cook even comes to me later in the day. I'm sitting there all day, posted up. So I'm sitting there all day, and Cook goes, he's making cracks every once in a while, leans back, and he goes, hey, bro, I heard you got your little team coming in strong 30 minutes before Walking Dead. He goes, I see you got your boots on. I'm like, don't worry about what I got on. And he goes, yeah, all right. He's like, you're going to have a rude awakening when you try and get up and turn that channel. He goes, you will see what happens, bro. You think I'm playing. I said, I'm not worried about you playing. I said, Cook, I don't give a shit. I said, there's one thing that's going to happen. I said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to turn the TV. I said, even if we both go to the shoe, I said, we can watch it together because I'm going to yank that TV clean off the fucking wall and we'll watch it together in the shoe together. And so he's all, and he's like, he's snickering and laughing. He didn't take me serious. And guys are coming to me going, are you playing with him? Are you serious, bro? I'm like, I'm serious. Like, I'm playing it up. I'm not doing nothing. So just before.
This is awesome.
Oh, it's good. I was impressed myself.
You're kind of like, damn.
Yeah. I was like, I think I might even punch this guy.
Even
I'm not
your mind's going like, hey, did we really say that? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right.
So as I'm leaving, so here's what happens. Just before, like it's maybe an hour beforehand, I get up to leave and he says something like, oh, I see you got your boots on. Makes another crack. Make sure your boys got your boots on. Whatever he's saying. We're talking shit. I get up to leave and he gets up to leave. And as I'm walking out the door, he makes some other crack. And I said, man, you need to stop worrying about whether I'm turning, because I am turning the channel. You watch. He said, you ain't turning shit. I said, bro, I'm telling you, I'm going to take that fucking TV off the wall. You think you're cute? I said, I don't give a shit. I said, bro, I got like 10 more years to go. I give a fuck. I said, I'll pull that thing right off the fucking wall. And he looked at me and he goes, what did he say? He said, oh, that ain't going to happen. I looked at him. I said, you need to stop worrying about what's going to happen, bro, because I'm going to yank that TV clean off the wall, and we're going to watch it. We'll watch it in the shoe together. I said, what you need to worry about is this, that when we get out of the shoe and they transfer you, you'd better hope they don't send you someplace out west where they're going to be asking for paperwork that you and I both know you can't provide. And he looked at me and went, because what I basically said, if nobody understands, is that I just said that I know your paperwork isn't good. I know you told on some people.
Right.
Like, I know you can't go out west where they're going to ask you for paperwork.
For real.
For real, like not give you a pass because you came in and had a story that semi-made sense. They're going to ask you for paperwork, and you're going to have to prove that you didn't cooperate. So I said, hey, they're going to send you someplace out west where they're going to ask you for paperwork that you and I both know you can't provide. And by the way, when I look at you like this, I wasn't looking at him like this. I was looking up at him because he's like I said, he's like 5'10", 5'11", and I'm like 5'6". So we're this close, and I'm like, yeah, you better. It's like not intimidating. So he looked at me and he kind of looks around and he goes, did somebody say something? I mean, that was it, bro. You just fucked
You
up.
heard the branch.
Yeah.
Snap.
It was like, and I go, yeah. And he goes, who? And I go, you, just now. And he sat there and he goes,
Oh,
what?
brilliant move.
What the? I said, bro, your numbers don't work. Your numbers don't work. I go, you're off the chart for criminal history and you got 15 years? And he sat there and he goes, bro, you know I'm just fucking with you, bro. You can watch that show. He said, I was just playing with you. I said, man, I was just playing with you too, Cook. I don't care, but I appreciate that. He's like, yeah, man, don't worry about it, man. I'll watch the show. That's cool. Don't worry about it. I said, all right. I said, no problem. He said, yeah, we're good. We're good, right? He goes, we're good. I said, nah, we're good. We're good. He goes, okay, all right. And he walks off. Listen, he came in 20 minutes later, grabbed his chair. 2 or 3 of his little buddies that were also there grabbed their chairs, and they all left. It was just me. And like a couple minutes later, a couple other guys walk in, then a couple of Chos walk in, and we're all sit there and we watch. Guys are like, dang, bro, what happened? I'm like, nah, I mean, he was just playing. It's fine. It's not a big deal. A couple days later, Cook comes up to me and goes, can I talk to you in the wash room where they had like, the mops and shit?
Right.
And I go, yeah, what's up? He walks in and he goes, you really didn't know? And I went, no. I said, I always assumed. He goes, nobody's ever said nothing? I said, nobody ever said nothing. And I said, what happened really? I said, because your numbers don't make sense. And he was, he goes, what did I say? I said, bro, you've been in state prison 3 times. You've told me about multiple arrests. I said, I know that your criminal history is off the chart. I said, you should have been at least 25 years. He goes, bro, I was looking at life. He goes, I was looking at life.
If it was drugs, yes.
Right. And well, it was. He was caught with meth, and he was caught with a gun, and he's been he's done.
Life.
Right.
Life.
And he sat there, and I said, and he goes, and he said, so I go, so you cooperated? And he's like, yeah, but you don't understand what happened. I said, I don't need to understand. Like he's trying to, they always like, you don't understand. It was my cousin Pookie. Pookie told on me first,
Yes,
and it's
great
always
line.
some reason that makes sense. And I don't care what your reason is. You cooperate. I could care less.
Yeah, it's retaliation. Yeah, the guy told on me first, so I told him.
Right, I had no choice. He was lying, and they were threatening I'd only did it for my wife.
You didn't want to do the time. How about you just didn't want to do the
Yeah,
time?
I'm okay with you didn't want to do I couldn't do life.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
Amen.
Sorry. I got to spread it around. You got to do 5 years. He can do 10 of it. You can do 7. Is it wrong? Yes, and I feel bad. But now I don't have to do life, and I'm okay with that. Because trust me, I can't be sitting for the rest of my life saying, yeah, I'm a stand-up guy, though. A little consolation when you can't make commissary. So anyway, I was like, I don't care. And he had some stupid story. I don't know if you've ever heard this one, where the guys will say that they buried guns because they knew someday they'd get busted, and they would be able to tell the DEA where there were guns, and they'd give them a reduction for the guns. But really, they were my guns I had bought and planted there, so I didn't tell on anybody. I just told them where there was some. Stop it.
That's a good line.
That's a good line, but it doesn't work. That's not what happened. That's a lie.
Right.
It really, and those guns that you gave them resulted in an arrest? No. Stop. No. It helped further an investigation they were already working on? No. It helped. Okay, stop. But I was like, look, whatever, bro. Later on, he told me what really happened. So anyway, listen, even the guy that got him messed up on his charge was also there. So anyway, that was one thing that almost did it come to an argument or not? I mean, a fight or not? I don't know, but it was always comical because I was that close to getting the living shit kicked out of me. I only had 2 other incidences. Incidents? Yeah, sorry. Another time when I first got locked up in the cell with 2 guys.
In the medium?
No, I was when I first, it was in the Marshall's holdover.
Oh.
I don't know if I ever told you this. Another eye incident, by the way. I'm sitting there. It's 3 guys in this little tiny room. 4 of us. At one point, 3, and then 4 is 2 bunks in a tiny little room. One of the guys, and you're basically laying down all day. You can't get up and walk around. There's nowhere. As soon as you get off your bunk, there's a toilet. That's it. So the other time was I was in this cell. We'd been locked up forever, and the one guy's bipolar. Big black guy, bipolar. And so I remember I had gotten down to go to the bathroom, and there was a mirror in the bathroom. It's that shiny chrome.
Yes.
And I'm
one piece, the toilet and sink.
Yeah. So I'm taking a piss, and I look up, And the guys, I can see him looking at me while I'm pissing. No big deal. It's a small room. You got to look somewhere. But he's, anyway, I glanced up at him and I don't think anything of it. I'm still pissing. And I glance up and he's looking at me again. He goes, "What you looking at?" I went, "I'm not looking at anything. You're looking at me. You saying I'm a punk? That's what you're saying? That's what you're saying?" And he jumps up. I'm pissing. He jumps up. What gets in my face while I'm going to the bathroom? And I'm like, whoa, hey, you saying I'm a punk? That's what you're saying? You saying I'm a punk? And keep in mind, everybody knows the guy's a loose cannon.
Right.
And he jams his finger in my eye. And like, boom. And I went, "What the fuck?" I'm pissing. I go, "What the fuck?" And he's like, I ain't no punk. And I finish. Zip up, turn around and walk away. The guy's like 6'4". He's a giant. He had to be over 350 pounds. I mean, he's a massive guy. Worked out. Every time they went to rec, he went out and worked out.
Damn.
So I get back in my bunk. He went for like the next 30 minutes or so. He's walking around like this, flexing, pacing in the room. There's barely any room to pace. He's literally, it's like 2 steps this way, 3 steps that way, and you're done. Or you're tripping over the toilet. And he's like, "I ain't no punk. I ain't no punk, man. And he's just working. And I'm sitting there staring at him. I'm sitting Indian style on my bunk, top bunk, in the corner, waiting for him to come at me so I can wedge myself in the corner and just kick him back.
Right.
This guy's spitting little bits of spit coming out of his mouth. The other guy that's in the room is down there looking up like, fuck, like he's nuts. After like 30 minutes or so, he calms down. He goes and he lays down. He woke up like an hour or so later, got up and said, "Man, I'm sorry about that, man. I just, I sometimes I get in my head and I can't stop I'm sorry, man. I was out of line. And I'm looking at him thinking, this guy's insane. Like I had just been locked up, maybe a month or so. Maybe might have been. Now that more I think about it, had to be about a month, maybe 2 months in that, because I was in Atlanta. So that was one time, and then,
well, I have
you have another one. I'll tell you my other one, which is funny.
Yeah. Well, the one in the pen where I actually got, I want to say assaulted, because I'd been in a couple of fights. One was like over. Like I was changing after I'd been there a while, I was changing the TV and me and the guys arguing and the guy's up in my face and I push him back and then we started going at it, but that's probably even because we were hugging and locked up. But the one time I was assaulted was like I had been there about 2 months and I had put something together because I was fighting my case. So I had put something together and I needed copies. And I didn't have a copy card. So somebody told me that the woman working, this was in the library in the evening time, Miss Green, he said, Miss Green makes copies for inmates. I've seen her do it. I said, okay, well, cool. So I go and she's in there with another inmate making copies, right? So I said, Miss Green, is it possible I can get some copies made? And she's like, what makes you think I make copies? I said, yeah, somebody told me that you'll make copies for us and we need copies. She goes, that sounds like some lieutenant sent you and put you up to it. I do not make copies for inmates. I do not make copies for inmates. I said, okay, no problem. And left.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I don't know what's got into her. So I go back and sit down. I go, she want to make the copy. So I sit down and then all of a sudden, 2 guys approach me. Now, both of these guys are muscular, but one's kind of about 180 pounds muscular, and one's about 270 pounds muscular, right? And they come in, and the 270-pound muscular guy, he's just punching the air, pacing back and forth.
None of these guys are brilliant.
Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and he's punching the air, and then the little skinny muscular guy, he kind of sits on top of a desk, and he goes, dude, how long have you been in the pen? I said, I've been here about 2 months. He goes, you ever been in the pen before? I'm like, nah, this is my first time. He's like, dude. He's like, you just fucked us up. I said, what? He goes, we were getting copies from Miss Green, and you come in there and say that to her, and now she don't want to make copies for us anymore. That was our business, how we were making money. I'm like, my bad, man. I go, I didn't know. He's like, you didn't know? It don't matter if you didn't know or not. You just cost me $50, $60, $80. I'm like, all right. I mean, you don't think you can get anybody else to make copies? He's like, nah, man. Nah, you're going to have to pay me my money. You done cost me my money. You're going to have to pay me. So I'm like, okay, explain this again. He's like, you just walked in there on Miss Green, said what you said. Now she don't want to make copies for me. And I was getting copies made for multiple people on the compound, and you done shut me down.
You ruined my hustle.
Yeah, you ruined my hustle. You owe me $80 in commissary. So I'm going to bring you, when do you go to Stowe? I said, I think I go next Wednesday. I'm going to bring you a list, and you're going to get me my shit. Right? So I'm like, okay. And I do that because I have to process. I'm not the type of person that, like, violence is not my first reaction. And when someone tells me something that I can't quite grasp, I'm thinking to myself, I need to process this because, like, I don't quite understand what's going on. So,
yeah, let me think my way out of this.
Yeah.
And just say, okay, cool, and walk away. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on.
Right.
How do I get out of this?
Yes.
It's got to be a logical way to do this. Thank you.
Because all of this doesn't make sense.
Right.
What just transpired? I don't even know what the hell is going on. So as the week progresses, they bring me a list for $80. Like, okay, you need to pick this up, blah, blah. I'm saying, now, hold on a second. As I'm asking questions, I'm like, so you're saying I owe you money because Miss Green cut off your business.
Right.
I said, if she would have just changed her mind and decided not to do it, who would owe you money? He's like, well, if she just changed her mind, we'd just be out. But you the one made her change her mind, so you owe us this money. So as I'm processing it, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm getting extorted.
Right.
So then I told myself, if I pay this is probably the first of many payments.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to pay it. I'm absolutely not going to pay it. I said, I might as well go to the shoe. I'm thinking I could check in, but then I'm like, I have some skills. I can hit back. I probably could take an ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? As long as they don't kill me, whatever. I'll just make it out in public, and I'm going to scream for help like a bitch if it all gets out of hand. You know what I'm saying? I know how to handle this, right? So the day comes, I'm supposed to have the groceries. I meet in the library that night, and they're like, you got our food? I said, no, I don't. They say, well, and they're making excuses for me, so I'm thinking I'm going to get out of this anyway. It's a bunch of yap, They're like, well, what happened? Your money didn't come in? You need some more time? What happened? Right? So I'm like, nah, man, I just decided I don't think I'm going to pay it. They look at each other and they leave. I'm like, okay, that was easy. So the next night in the library, they come in, both of them together, but the routine starts over. So the big guy's coming in, he's punching there. Little guy comes, let me holler at you right quick, bruh. So you cost us money, and you saying you ain't finna pay us. Is that what's going on? I said, hey, listen, man, because in my mind, I'm like, this has got to be a joke. This is not real.
It's a stand-up routine. This is a stand-up routine.
So I said, listen, bro. I said, if my mistake cost you money, right, I apologize. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not paying you $80 for some money you got on the come. I'm just not going to get in the middle of that.
Right.
So he's like, I tell you what. He go, let me holler at you. Right here. Instead of us talking and arguing in front of everybody, let me holler at you right quick in this other room. Stupidly, like it played on my intelligence so much that I went into the other room.
You thought you could talk him out of it.
Well, I thought it was over. I thought this is all a joke. This is not real. Right. So I go into the other room. Right. And both guys come in and they close the door. Then I come to realize.
No camera?
No camera. I come to realize I'm like,
This just went bad.
I go, when I came in here, there was probably about 4 guys in that library as lookout. You know, it's like the situation processed as now he started back talking. He's like, he go, unfortunately, because he's giving a spiel. This is like, I'm finna whoop your ass spiel. Unfortunately, we can't have people thinking they can just do us any kind of way. No, he's in a spiel, but I'm processing in my mind, like, this was a big mistake, me walking in this room. And if other people find out that we let a MF get us in a situation. And I'm like, how do I get out of this room? So that's why we got to make an example of you. This is all processing at once. So I told him, I said, hey, so in my mind, I'm like, I need to get loud, right? And I need to get close to that door where that guy's punching to get out of here. So he's talking and I cut him off because I wasn't listening to him anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, hey, huh? I said, listen, man, I'm going to holler at y'all later. I ain't got time for this. Well, the dude punching the air, when I stop him, he stops and looks, and he comes over and he cocks me right in the, like I watched the whole thing. He runs over to me and he punches me right in the face. Boom! I go down. So luckily they're not kicking. They decide they're going to bend over and they're going to beat me up traditionally. So they're bending over to beat me up. So I get in the fetal position, but I'm yelling, oh, stop, oh. This is by the way, this is a library. So where I'm at is a back book room. So I grab a cart full of books and pull it down on myself. So there's books. So they're punching books and everything to hit me, right? And I'm screaming, wow. Then they go, hey, I hear somebody on the outside say, hey. So the big guy that's punching me, he stops and he looks back. So I'm in the fetal and I look and I see him look the other way. And like an idiot, I punch him, boom, in the face. He's like, oh, he goes down. But the other guy, they're beating me up. Then they both stop and they run out of the room. Well, the CO comes in. I'm bloodied. They don't break anything. I'm just bloodied up in the face, bleeding from my lips and teeth. What happened? Who jumped you? Who was it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know who it was. So they
Little Jimmy and Miami.
They actually
you track him down, right?
Somebody told on him because they actually got them both and me, and I'm the only one that came out, right? Nobody even liked those guys when they
got the cameras. They can see these two guys. Those guys probably just ran down the hallway, and it's pretty obvious. Like, oh, and it's a pin. It's like what, 400 or 500 guys? How many people were there? Like,
no, it was 1,500. It was a pretty big pin.
That's a big pin.
It was
still
big pin.
Somebody in the library is like, that's Thompson. He's in B7. That's Jimmy.
But that was like my experience of being jumped. But like I said, the whole time I'm like, this is a joke. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Did you go to the shoe?
Yes, I went to the shoe for about a week. What had happened is I think SIS had told me that these guys, they've been jumping. And I don't understand how they've been jumping people because they were really lousy fighters.
All right.
Like when I went down, they should have kicked me to sleep. But for some reason, they wanted to stoop down and hit me with their fists. I'm like, what are y'all doing? This is not even the right way to do this.
You got me down, kick me.
Yeah. When I pulled the book cart on me, because I just grabbed, I didn't pull it when I fell. Like when they're hitting me, I grab up and I grab it and pull it down on me. So
right.
It was strange. It was weird.
So
but it wasn't that bad.
What happened with those guys?
They shipped them.
Oh, okay.
They told me they were problems anyway. They were into something else. They were bullying, and that wasn't their forte.
Right. So this was just an excuse to get rid of them
Yes.
anyway. We knew they were into something, but this gives us an excuse to ship them.
Yes.
Make them somebody else's problem.
The SIS guy was a black guy, and he's like, you just got here for tax fraud. He goes, we're shipping. He goes, listen, man. He goes, I've had problems with. He mentioned it, Matt, and I swear I can't remember.
Right.
Either they were into tickets, gambling, or they were into something that he's like, listen, I've been wanting to get rid of those two idiots forever.
Right.
Thank you. Get out of here. So, and the rumor was I got extorted, but I'm like, I never paid it.
Yeah. I actually had, look, so like I went to the medium, right? Like I never had any problems at the medium, right? Other than being attractive. So, but when I got to the low, so I've been to the low maybe 2-3 weeks. I think I've told you this. So this guy comes over, and guy's like 6'6", by the way. Huge, like really tall, muscular guy. Comes over, I want to say his name was, B. They called him B. So B comes over to me one day. I'm in my cell with my cellie sitting there.
Right.
And I was sitting there writing. B comes, when you say to extortion, it reminds me of this. So B comes over, he walks in my cell, and I'll make the story quick. He says, he walks right up to me. I'm sitting in a chair writing. I'm wedged between but like he can't come too close. Like he comes up and he goes, hey. I went, I'm already sitting down. You're 6'6". You're already a foot taller than me, and I'm sitting down. So I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, what's up? And he said, this is how this is gonna work, bro. I'm gonna give you, I forget what he said, 50 or let's say $100. He goes, I'm gonna give you $100 worth of. He goes, I'm gonna give you. No, here's how it's gonna work. You're gonna give me $100 worth of commissary a month. He said, ain't nobody gonna bother me, or ain't nobody gonna bother you. And I went, oh yeah. And he goes, yeah. I said, that's how it's gonna work. He goes, that's how it's gonna work. And I went, okay, so you got a list? I guess he was expecting some pushback.
Right.
I go, you got a list? He goes, like, no, I this ain't no joke. And I went, no, I understand. You can make sure nobody bugs me. I give you $100. Yeah. I said, all right, well, give me a list. And I sat there and I went, is there anything else? And he's like, nah, man. I said, all right, well, give me a list. And he goes, man, what you need a list for? I said, well, what am I'm just going to randomly get you $100 worth of stuff? I mean,
what do you need a list for?
I said, if it's up to me, it's going to be like copy cards and like, dandruff shampoo. Like, I mean, I need a list. I need to know what you want. And he went, and you could tell he was just like, something's really wrong here. Right. And he goes, I don't know about no list. I said, yeah, man, you write up a list and I'll get it for. I go, write up a list. I said, make sure you put your name and what cell you're in, too. And what you need that for? I said, well, so that I can, when I bring it to the counselor and ask him what I'm supposed to do about this 6'6" black guy trying to extort me for $100 a month. I said, so we can go straight to your cell. I said, and have a talk with you. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, that's how it is? You want to rat me out? I said, of course I'm going to rat you out. I said, look at this compound. I said, there's only two kinds of people here, rats and chomos. That's it. I said, less than 5% of this entire, I said, less than 5% of the people here didn't cooperate. I go, this is a protective custody compound. I said, now, maybe you're one of the stand-up guys. I said, I don't know. I found out later, by the way, he'd been back to court like 4 or 5 times to cooperate. He started with a life sentence. So, I didn't know that at the time, though. I'd just gotten there. Like, I'd seen him around, but I don't know who he is. I don't talk to this guy. So I said, so? He said, oh, you're just going to rat me out like that? I said, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said, I didn't come here to make friends. I said, I will rat out anybody I have to survive and get out of this place. I'm not here to make friends. I said, so give me your list so we can all have a conversation. He goes, oh, that's going to go bad for you. I said, I don't give a shit how it goes. I tell you what's not going to happen is you're not going to get your $100. Now, luckily it was a low and not a medium, so he didn't attack me. He said, oh, that ain't going to work out good for you. So, and he just like walked off.
Right.
I never heard from him again. Like I'm walking by him and he's looking at me. And I'm just not looking at him at all. It's like you glance up, see him, and just keep your head down, keep walking. Like I'm waiting for it to go bad. Never did. Never did. What ended up happening was I actually had a 2-man cube, and I was going to move from the top bunk to the bottom bunk, and my cellie was going to the drug program. This was like a month or so later. And literally this guy named Rambo, who was a Puerto Rican guy, when my cellie moved out, he moved in. And you don't just move in somebody's cell. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know that. And first of all, I was supposed to go down. So he moves in. I'm furious. And I go, what the fuck's going on, bro? What do you mean? You just come in here? And he's like, oh, that's the way it is, man. Oh, Rambo. That's the guy's name.
I'm thinking the guy that extorted you, but go ahead.
No, this is another guy.
All right.
So what happens is I end up going in and bitching and moaning in the white TV room. Man, this fucking piece of shit. He this, he that. So I have this whole thing. And this one guy's like, hey, bro, my cellie's moving. Or I'm going to be leaving. You can move my cell. I said, no, man, I can't stay one night. I got to figure something out right now. And the guy goes, let's go talk to my cellie. So I go to this guy's cellie, and I convince his cellie, who's a sex offender, to swap bunks with me.
Right.
So while Rambo's taking a nap, we actually move our stuff. So now he's stuck in a room with a chomo, which, he ain't happy about at all. So we swap him out. And I actually paid the sex offender, I paid him $30. Like I went and got him $30 in commissary. He was like, oh, what if you don't give me the commissary? I said, bro, I'm not like that. I don't give a shit what you're here for. I said, I'm going to get you the $30. I'm not like these other guys. I'm going to get you the $30. And I did. I got him $30. You know what was bothering me about that? Was that it was basically like $15 worth of underwear. And I know that when he was walking around the compound after that, he was walking around the compound and I would glance over and we'd make eye contact. And I know that he knew that I knew that you're wearing my underwear. I bought you those underwear. Like, it was a weird thing. Like, if I felt uncomfortable after that.
Did you?
Did I what?
Did you ever say anything about your wearing?
No. I was like,
Well, at least now he had them
my
on.
fear is that, my fear is
now he
he's
had
thinking to himself, I'm wearing your underwear you bought me. Not good. So, but what happened was, so we swap it and the guy was furious about it too, bro. Like, I mean, literally was like everybody's laughing at him now. Like, oh, you thought you were cute. Now you're stuck with Chomo. Anyway, what's so funny is, so then like a couple days later, I'm walking down the hallway and that guy B that tried to extort me,
right?
We're walking by each other and he sees me, walks up, he goes, hey Cox. And I remember thinking, fuck, this fucking guy, what's going to happen now? I look up and I go, yeah, what's up? He said, that shit you did with the Chomo? And I go, yeah. He goes, that was a veteran move, bro. Veteran move. And he fist bumps me and walks, and he goes like, you're all right, and walks off.
That's a veteran move.
Yeah, we're buddies after that. So it was
with Rambo, who was the asshole.
Yeah. He's the same guy. You know, it's funny, is B's the same guy. Trump had just become president.
Right.
A few months earlier. And B was bent over the fountain machine drinking water, and I came walking up behind him, and he turned around, he looked at me, he goes, hey Cox, I don't like a white man coming up behind me like that. And I said, well, don't worry. I said, 6 months of Trump being president, you're going to have your own water fountain. And he went, oh man. He goes, oh, I said, nice, right? He goes, oh, he starts laughing. He didn't know he was torn between that was a good one and hey. And
hey, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But no, I had a question about, do you remember, I think it was a Chomo at the Medium. It was a kid who looked like he was about 13, 14.
Absolutely.
He had the shorts on. Remember that day he had just the shorts and no shirt and sucking a lollipop? Do you remember that? And
the white guys came to him and told me he had to buy them all to stay. He had to buy them all tennis shoes when he first got there, right?
Really? Is that? Yes.
Yes, little white guy.
Yes. And they moved him to the low.
Oh, I don't know if he was there when I got there. I don't remember. But wasn't he there? He was. What was it? He was making. They were making like. Oh, he was getting younger. He wasn't a teenager. He was like a grown man.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's getting young girls.
Girls or guys?
Well, I don't know what he's getting. I thought it was young girls to make pornos with other kids, and they were videoing. It wasn't that the crime? Like, yes. It was actually like
because they tried to get him in the. Somebody tried to get him in the laundry, and laundry lady said, "I don't want anybody here with that type of charge."
Right.
She's just like outright. She goes, "Listen." She goes, "I don't want anybody working in here with that type of charge." That's exactly what she said. But because I thought he went to the low, because when I went to the shoe. He was in the shoe the whole time, and I heard them tell him, we finally got you approved to go to the low. His mom was going nuts. I forgot his name.
Bro, listen, there were so many of those guys there. There were so many sex offenders
But you never saw him again.
No, and listen, if they could have run the whole compound. Like, they could have told you ain't going to the yard. I mean, there were so many of them, yes. But they're all so scared and so timid, and they're all, they're embarrassed and they're ashamed and they're, listen, but then there were some of them that weren't. Some of them are literally ready to argue with you that, like, it's totally acceptable to be looking at pictures or talk or having sex. Like, back in the, back 100 years ago, and you could be a 45-year-old man and be having sex with a 13-year-old. What's the problem? It was like, what are you doing, bro? So some of them were just boisterous, and it was like, bro, you understand that you're lucky you're at a compound. Because let's face it, if they went to like Yazoo or so, most places, you're not watching TV.
No,
you don't even look in the TV room. Like, you're not coming. They would let these guys.
Jessup had a couple of them.
Right.
Jessup Medium had a couple of them. But I think the lows are inundated.
But
Coleman low coddled them.
Massive.
They coddled them. Who was somebody? When I was in the shoe is when I met people. I remember it was a Spanish guy told me that when you got there, the SIS told them that it was like an experiment. And they said the SIS would tell them, we don't think that you're right for this place. There are only certain types of people we allow to be here. And you have to be like very accepting. They coddled them at that Coleman Low. They coddled them.
Because
they had Conrad Black there.
Yeah, they told me. He told me, look, Cox, you're gonna be all right. He said, you're gonna be all right. Just follow the rules, and as long as you don't have a problem with our indigenous population, he said, you're gonna be okay. I said, oh, that's right. I said, I heard you guys got like 300 or 400 sex offenders here. He goes, no, it's like half.
Wow.
He goes, it's like half the people here have sex offender charges. He goes, so if you got a problem with that, I said, I just want to do my time, bro. I just want to be left alone. I said, as long as they don't bother me, I'm fine. I said, I could care less. He was like,
they didn't bother you?
No, I was too old. Now when I shaved, if I shaved,
they're like, hey, cutie. Yeah. But anyway,
yeah. So that was. So what was the other one? The other.
Oh, my other story was the car story about the where they all gathered up, but I had been there about a year and a half. So really this incident.
This is the one you have to use for the. Try and figure out how to use this for the hook.
Well,
like this is
this incident changed my statue because like
your status or your
status.
Statue. Not statue.
No, maybe that's not the
statue.
Stature.
Thank you. That's
where like I kind of went from maybe follower to leader because so many people afterwards said, "Man, thank you."
Yeah. So what happened? What?
So, they're like normally they set the alarm that we're having a meeting. So if two cars are gonna go at it, like while I was there, the Florida car went at it with the Crips when I was at Beaumont, which was I had just got there and that went down, and there were stabbings involved. So people from Florida, we had to work it out. Another time we went. Florida has issues. We went at it with the Spanish. While I was there, against the Spanish, against the Crips, against the Texas car, and against the Northwest car. So Florida would get into it. These Florida guys had major issues. So at one point, we were going to get into it with the guys from DC. That is actually the nightmare situation in the pen. Is the DC, because the DC guys are so vicious.
Well, they're basically state inmates.
Yes. And so they're all scummy. They're just.
Yeah. Because DC, they don't have like a prison policy. Like if you commit a crime in DC.
It's federal.
Even
if it's a misdemeanor.
You could be stealing hubcaps, going to feds. Are you serious? Like it could be anything. You're going to the feds. No matter what, it's fed. And
so the feds did that now to the Indian reservations.
Yeah. Those guys started showing up left and right.
Yeah, they did it to the end. But anyway, so we were going to go to war with DC. So it's going around the compound. We're going to war with DC. So someone, and this is like serious. Like it's not just one day we're saying this and the next day it's over. Like they're prepping people to the point where they come to me and they're like, do you have a knife? And I'm like, what? They go, you need a knife. So dude gave me a knife. Like, I don't know how he made this thing, but it was like a shard of metal about this long blade, sharp, that I cut my finger, like, holy piss. And they're giving me stab lessons, and he's showing me how to strap it to my hand. Like, strap the thing to your hand.
Because blood's very slippery, and as soon as you get some blood, it'll slip out of your hand.
Yep.
That's what I heard.
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
It was serious. Like this was going to go down.
Right.
So I'm like, when, where? It was supposed to be on a Friday. So we have one meeting, and this is in a unit in a guy's cell during the move. So we go during the move, we go into this guy, and this guy's name is they call him Iceman. They call him Ice. But he's a big snaggletooth punk. Right, he had a boyfriend, but he was gay, but he was supposed to be the leader of the car. This is the guy that's supposed to guide us and talk to a couple of people. He was the one that told me to go and beat up the guy for jacking in the kitchen. He worked with other cars. I had seen him put out a couple of incidents. I didn't really like him. He barely even talked to me. I don't think he liked me either, but he was there. So we were going to see Iceman, who was the car leader. So we get in this cell. So he's like, hey, listen, And he's giving the spiel like, listen, like the battle speech, like not all of us are gonna make it. Right? So all the thing I hear is we're going to war with the DC car. So I get in the cell and he's like, all right, all of us ain't gonna make it. He goes, and some things are worth spending the rest of your life or giving your life for. But one thing ain't gonna happen, man. These people ain't gonna just do us any kind of way. This is a vicious fucking group. They done tried us and we ain't finna put up with it. Yeah, all right, yeah. Listen, we men. We represent Florida. We represent a big state and we ain't gonna go down like this. So y'all get ready Friday morning. We're gonna meet them on the rec yard. We got a day and a half. Call your people, let them know, because this is finna go down. It's going down in this mug, going down. My soldiers, yeah, all right, yeah. All right, when they call a move, y'all get out of here. All right, no problem. Cool, all right. So we're all standing around quiet like, yeah, it's a murmur. So I said, hey, I have a question. Right, so, yeah, what's up, man? I said, why are we going to war? I said, what happened? I go, ain't nobody ever told me what happened. Why are we going to war? Iceman put his head down. Because one of them dudes tried to go after my boy. I said, then it, no more murmur, because the murmur tried to go after my boy. I said, by your boy, you mean that dude, that gay guy that was your cellie? He's like, yeah. Man, we gotta let them dudes know, man, they can't just try anybody. Man, we representing Florida, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want to go to war over a homosexual. I'm like, I wasn't poking him in the butt. So
yeah, I'm sure I'm sure your punk's a wonderful person.
I'm sure, yeah, that's exactly about what I should say. I'm sure he's a good piece of ass. I bet, because he looks cute. But I'm not gonna do life or kill anybody or die
because someone disrespected
your punk. Yeah. I want to. Don't get me wrong.
I hear you. Unacceptable. And I'm ready to compose a harshly worded email. Not stab someone.
Why didn't I say that? So I'm unwrapping the hand. I'm like, y'all gonna have to count me out, right? Oh man, you back out of this. You out the car completely. I can live with that. Yeah, that's. I mean, that seems reasonable because in the future, I don't want to be called to go to war. Now, I said, now, if they attacked someone in, like, one of our friends,
if it's a genuine issue,
yes,
right.
So you know what I'm saying? Because I talked to a bunch of them. Matter of fact, I still talk to a bunch of them.
Right.
But I'm not going to war over your punk's not even from Florida.
Right. So what did the other guys do?
Murmur. So I said, I'm out. He's like, well, then you walk alone. This is what he told me. You walk alone. I said, I walk alone. I'm like, I'm cool with it.
But you've been there several years by now.
No, I've been there about 2 years, going on 2 years.
Yeah, okay, 2 years.
I said, I walk alone, right? So when they call a move, I leave, right? So when they leave, nah, let that nigga go, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're talking. Ice talking to him, blah, 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 blah. So when they come out, right, all of a sudden the Friday attack is off, right? And then people are telling me, like, I'm with you, man. I wasn't finna go to war over a punk.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, everybody's telling me that and thanking me for clarity, because believe it or not, most of us didn't know what we were fighting for.
Right.
But I like that. I'm ready to do a harshly worded email.
I got your back in writing.
That's right. And if they jump you about him,
yeah,
or if I see someone kissing him, I'm willing to say something. I'm definitely going to.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Lips off that guy. Lips off that guy.
What was
He's
his name? What was the guy's name?
Iceman. Yeah.
Iceman. That's you know damn well Iceman loves you. So yeah, no.
Yes,
not gonna happen.
So it didn't happen. So my statue went up because so many people agreed because they didn't know they were blindsided by that whole thing. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm thinking, like, holy mackerel. Like, I've never been to war. I'm about to go and meet with DC guy, probably get slaughtered. And I'm like, I don't even know why. And what surprised me is nobody was asking.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're doing this.
Yeah. They're good soldiers. You don't ask. You don't have the political reasons behind the decision. You're a soldier. You're a button. You're a button man.
A button.
Button man. Not
button man.
Not button. Not you're a button. Button.
Are we doing this for a piece of ass? You know.
Oh man. I was gonna say. So listen. So the other one with me is that there was a guy named Billy, who was supposedly a biker, and and so Billy was in the low, and Billy, when he first got there, immediately started telling everybody like that, everybody's a punk, oh, that dude's a punk, that dude's a chomo, all these fucking snitches around here. I'm a stand-up guy. I'm this. I'm that. Ellis Cook actually got so sick of listening to him because Ellis Cook was preaching the same thing. So Billy's preaching it, Ellis Cook, but they had an issue. Like, they constantly were butting heads over the TV. You know what problems the TVs are.
Yes.
The TVs are huge problems. So they were constantly butting heads. Cook actually had somebody on the street look up Billy, look up his charges, and while he was trying to figure out if he cooperated. While he was looking to see if he cooperated, which he did, he found out that Billy was a registered sex offender. He'd actually had sex with like a 14-year-old girl when he was like 32 or something, like one of his buddies, whatever, kids or something. And he got charged with it, and he actually I think he just got like probation or something. It's funny because in the feds, like if you look at a kid online, in the feds, you get three-year minimum mandatory to possibly 10 or 12 or 5, whatever. But on the state level, if you actually get a hold of the kid and have sex with her, you get probation. So if I took a picture of her and put it on the line, 5 years. Right, but you just had sex with her. Oh, okay. So anyway, Billy actually was a registered sex offender on the Florida website. So he actually, Cook somehow or another got the flyer sent in and made copies of it and passed it out. So Billy was totally outed and got an article that talked about Billy being a cooperating witness. So, I mean, Billy's like done. So anyway, but Billy's he's acting like it's all bullshit. Like that, none of that's true. He did admit the sex offender thing at some point. But the point is, one day and I used to mess with Billy all the time. He was always making wisecracks, and I'd make wisecracks back.
Right.
So I actually, at one point, like he would say stuff like, I remember one time some guy came in the TV room and sat down, and we're all watching TV, and the guy was like, he had just come out of the counselor's office, and he's like, yeah, man, I just got my halfway house date back. They gave me 9 months. I leave next month. Guys are like, man, good for you, bro. Good for you. Where are you going after that, man? I'm gonna go stay with my family. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna try and get moved up to West Virginia or whatever. And Billy would throw in like, yeah, I don't know if I ain't gonna take no halfway house. I don't want no halfway house. And well, in Florida, the halfway houses won't take sex offenders. So you don't have it. You're acting like I don't want it. No, you don't have a choice. So stop with that. But
that's what you said? Or?
No. What I said was, somebody said, Billy then said, he's like, I'm not sure where I'm going to go on. I don't think I'm, like, he's just talking to himself, really. Nobody's even talking. He's like, I don't know. I might go stay I ain't going to stay with my family. I don't know. I might stay with my girl. I don't know. And I went, well, I know where you're not staying. And he goes, where? And I go, anywhere close to a church, a daycare. I said, or a school like that. And I said, or a park. Everybody starts laughing. Fuck you, Cox. Fuck you. And gets up and walks off, or, would stand up and he'd jump up and yell at him, fuck you, Cox. And I just, and I start laughing. And, what are you going to do? He'd walk off. As it got closer to him going home, I don't know what happened, but I'm still messing with him the whole time. Like, this has been years going on. So that's just our relationship. Like, don't say anything stupid around me. The way I looked at it is this. I remember my ex-wife said, you would think that going to prison would have curbed your smart-assness. It would have made you a little bit humble.
It did.
And I was like, No, I was like, well, I realized right away that either I can be quiet my entire bit, or I can make a wisecrack every once in a while and get bitch slapped. I said, I'm over the bitch slapping pretty quick. But being quiet the whole time and not making these great comments that I make, I said, I can't do it. I just can't. I'll die of cancer. I'll never make it through the whole thing. Keeping that bottled up, that's not right.
I got to let it out.
I just got to get smacked every once in a while. I'll just take it. And she was just like, you're such an idiot. So one day I'm sitting there. Billy's seat was behind me. And we're sitting there watching TV. And, Billy said stupid, people say stupid shit. And I remember this is the kind of stupid stuff he would say. And I'm sitting there watching watching TV, and we were watching a country music video, and there's a hot chick walking down the beach. And Billy said something along the lines of, you wouldn't know what to do with that, would you, Cox? And I go, shit, I got a better chance of hitting that than you do. And he goes, man, I want to fuck something. I'll knock your ass out and fuck you. And I go, shit, Billy. I said, I'm a little bit old for you. Plus, I have my high school diploma. And he jumps up and bam, bitch slaps me. Like, bam. And I was like, it so hard, by the way. Billy's like 6 foot tall and 2-something.
What is with you and the 6 foot people?
It bothers me. I'm 5'6" and it irritates me. So listen, it hit me so hard. I like leaned forward, and you know what I actually thought happened? I thought someone had walked. People walk with their chairs over their heads. Yeah. So I thought someone had walked in the door and dropped the chair on me.
Really?
Like I actually remember looking around for the chair. I was like, what? The chair? Like they bounce. The plastic chairs will bounce, So I'm waiting for it to bounce back and hit me again. And for a second, I was like, and then I realized, this motherfucker hit me. I jump up. I go, you motherfucker. Then, of course, he's also 6 foot something tall. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? He's going to kill me. And Billy's like, fuck you, you fuck. I go, fuck you, you chomo motherfucker. And so we're yelling back and forth. And he just turns around and storms off. Thank God, because he'd have beat me like a small child. Anyway, he walked off. And so one of the guys looks at me and he goes, bro, you okay? And I was like, huh? No, I'm fine. He goes, nah, bro, you're not fine. He goes, go look in the mirror. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I mean, this is the moneymaker. So I go straight in. I go straight into the bathroom and look. Bro, half my eye, bloodshot red. He blew out like the capillary or whatever they call that. I don't know. I'll get correct. I'm sure that's wrong. I'll probably get corrected in the comment section by 60 guys. They're like, oh, it's actually your such and such. Whatever. So it blew it out completely red. So like the whole day, as I'm walking by the guards, I'm constantly turning. But keep in mind, 95% of the compound, either 50% of the compound are sex offenders, and the other 50%, 95% cooperated. Right. So basically, out of every unit of 180 guys, if you do the math, you've got like 3 to 5 guys that didn't cooperate. So they're all snitches.
Right.
And all the chomos are snitches. They just didn't get a chance to cooperate because what are you going to say? You were on the computer like, boop, 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 like I got nobody to tell on.
Right.
So what happens is by 4 o'clock count, they walk around, they do count. Right after count, they call, Billy's name was like something, it was William something. Anyway, they call him William Telefaro or something, William Telefaro or whatever. And Matthew Cox come to the officers, and I'm like, I walk in, and I walk in, I'm like, yeah, what's up? And the guy goes, no, Cox. He goes, turn your head. And he looked at me and goes, it was a guy from SIS. He said, yeah, I heard you were in a fight. I said, no, I was not in a fight. I said, a fight assumes, a fight means that I fought back. I said, I was assaulted like that. Billy walks in the door, and Billy's like, yeah, what's up? And I said, by him. Like that. Oh, listen, I already know I'm in trouble. I said, by that motherfucker right there. And Billy's like, looked at me, he goes, fuck. And I said, bro, and the guy goes, they go, man, we got fucking, they already got 3 or 4 people that weren't even in the room. They got 3 or 4 people already have written statements. We're talking about between whatever, 10 or 11 in the morning, right? And 4 o'clock, they've got like 3 or 4 written statements saying that that basically they all were like there was a fight. It wasn't a fight. I was just assaulted, And Billy's like, yeah, it was a fight. So what? I said, it wasn't a fight. Stop saying it wasn't a fight. So yeah, you don't want to be in a fight because I could get shipped.
Right.
I can't I don't want to get shipped. My mom comes to see me. Fuck that. Fuck this piece of shit. So I'm ready to fucking cut your throat. your head clean off your body, yeah, you got a problem. So remember that by the time we got on the bus to be transformed, he's like, bro, just don't say nothing. I go, fuck you. Not fucking saying. I already said something. I'm ready to say something. You fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, Cox. It's fucking ridiculous. So that was when. Was that when I went to the Pen?
When you went to the Pen?
I went to the Pen Shoe.
Oh yes.
I went to the Pen Shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad, was it?
No. Oh, the Pen Shoe.
Yeah.
Super nice. The Pen. Like by the time I get to the Pen, terrified. I mean, like I'm sitting there, I'm all locked up. I remember they drove me from the low to the Pen.
Right.
The low, it's manicured. There's trees. There's bushes. They have flowers.
Concrete.
Everything's concrete. And I remember driving. I was like, no manicured lawns here. And I'm sitting. The two guards keep looking back at me. The one guard starts laughing. He goes, "You're gonna be all right, Cox." I said, "I don't feel good about this. I don't get the warm fuzzies. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel good." He's like, "You're gonna be all right." I said, "I don't know."
I lived in there. You didn't see. There's no trees.
No.
It's. I hated it.
Well, I went to the shoe. So I mean, I go in the shoe, and it was so funny when I got in the shoe. They had a bunch of guys in the rec yard area of where they let you out. Not the rec yard, but the rec yard for the shoe.
Right.
And there are guys, total faces tattooed, walking around, like chained up, walking around.
That's standard.
Oh my, bro, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, they're like caged animals. And I remember I look at the guard, I go, bro, you can't put me in with one of those guys. He goes, oh, no, Cox, don't worry. You're not going. We've got a cell for you. You'll be fine. We're not putting you, I mean, with nobody. He's like, we're not even putting you in with a low guy. You're going to be by yourself. Damn. It's okay.
That's nice.
Oh, they were nice. I walked in. He goes, now, Cox, I understand you like to read. I got you some books. He had like fucking 10 books. He goes, I got you some books. I've got you some this. I got you that. I've got this. Your clothes are here. You're this. He said, this is your cleaning supplies. He goes, don't drink this. He goes, it's Ajax. He goes, don't drink the Ajax. Looked at me and I go, is that an issue? He goes, yeah, it is an issue. Don't drink it. So don't drink if you feel.
Don't drink the Ajax.
Yeah, don't drink they had the.
Oh, to make themselves sick or what the fuck?
What the fuck? I don't know what they're doing. How do you even drink? Like I mix up some water and drink it. He goes, don't. He goes, if you feel suicidal, or I said, bro, I'm not. Trust me. He says a lot more people going out before me. I said, I'm good. I said, I'll make it through this. Like that. He was like, he started laughing. He said, okay, listen, the next day, out of there, I spent 22 hours in the shoe. Back on the
They ship, what's his name?
Yeah.
They put both of y'all out.
Billy went to the medium, and he was being released in like 3 to 6 months. So he did like 3 or 4 months in the shoe. They couldn't put him in the medium because he's a sex offender.
Right.
And he cooperated. Like it's like the
He could have fit at the medium.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Anyway, Andy had just gotten into a fight, so they just released him. Such a piece of shit. Such a piece of shit. Like look, here's what I can't stand. I can't stand hypocrites. This guy went around actively chasing around sex offenders. You're a sex offender. Actively calling everybody snitches. You're a snitch.
That is the best. Like, why human nature does that. If you're cheating on your wife, then the natural thing for you to do is accuse your wife of cheating.
Right. Yeah, it's just
so if I'm a snitch, then I'm gonna say I hate snitches. Because maybe you'll think that, you hate snitches. There's no way in the world he snitched. He hates snitches.
Well, and here's the thing. He was desperately trying to fit in a compound where, one, you do fit in, but two, you don't need to fit in. Like at the low, like there are some, like at a pen, you would need to click up, especially at the beginning, right? Obviously.
Well, maybe. But go ahead.
But I'm saying, well, I mean, I would think you would. Depending on who you are, you kind of need to click up. Like at the pen, I'm saying at the low, you don't have to click up.
No.
You can not. You can
really the medium. You don't have to click up in the medium.
Right. But I'm saying at the low, especially. Like, you with the gang? No. I'm going to sit where I want to sit. I'm going to do what I want to do. All you really have to do is don't gamble, don't borrow anything, be respectful to everybody. You're good.
Stay away from the punks.
Stay away from, exactly. All the things. Don't try and turn the TV. Like, just follow the basic rules. Like, the TV's a big issue. Gambling's a big issue. Borrowing stuff is a big issue. And the TV's an issue.
Yep.
don't
Read books.
read, stay in your cell, get a job. You're going to be okay.
You're right. You'll make it.
I taught the real estate class for the whole time I was locked up at the low. I taught it at the medium, obviously, a couple of years, 2.5 years at the medium.
2 years.
The whole time I was locked up at the low, I taught it.
Wow.
God, I was on autopilot. I mean, I would walk in. I would have to walk it towards the end. I was walking in, going, "What did we go over last week?" And they would go, "Oh, we talked about this and this and this." And I go, "Okay, that means so." And then I'd start because now I knew where I don't have a syllabus. I was so like they're literally I had to do that because there were times I would walk in and start talking,
Right.
and guys would be like, "Yo, Cox, this is what you went over last week," like verbatim. I mean, literally, I had it like down. I had the jokes down. I had the whole thing down. And I was like, "Are you serious? Why'd you guys let me get 10 minutes in? Oh, we thought you were gonna do something. I don't know." I was like, "Fuck."
What was the average size of your class?
About 30 guys.
Wow.
And it trickled down
As it went on?
I
I might start off with 8.
Oh yeah,
down
no,
to 2.
no. My first class guys were standing. The guys were literally standing up. And then by halfway through, you're down to 20, and then by the last part of it, you've got 10 guys, maybe 15 guys that are diehard guys that really genuinely want to learn. But when I teach the real estate, I'm entertaining, and I'm breaking it down pretty clearly. Right. I mean, the real estate class. Listen, I had it down so good. I literally had guys when they were leaving, stopping me and going, "Hey, Cox, man, bro, it was a good class." Shaking my hand. Like I changed. Guys are telling me, other guys are telling me on the compound, they're like, "Hey, my celly, every time he leaves your class, he comes in, he says, 'Man, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm taking Cox's class, man. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make millions.'" This guy he goes, "You got these guys believing
Yes.
that they can make millions." I'm like, think about it. I used to tell them this is being a drug dealer, okay? Converting that to real estate isn't that hard. No. It's because it's about the hustle. If you're a true hustler, you can do real estate. You just got to switch your hustle. Right. Like these guys aren't afraid to go knock on a door and talk to somebody they don't know. They'll do that. Right. You get some 40-year-old white suburban woman, she's not going in those neighborhoods. No. She's not knocking on doors. These guys will. Yep. I mean, it's anyway, so I had the whole class down. It was a great class. I could do a whole thing on that class. It was hilarious. But yeah, selling certificates. I was selling certificates. I had a guy one time.
Who wouldn't? But go ahead.
Yeah, of course you're selling. Of course you have to get so many certificates. Like you go into. Sorry, I'm looking at you. You have like your counselor will tell you. Like one of the things that to help lower your points, so you can get to a lower custody prison, is you take classes. You get so many certificates, and they'll start to recommend or lower your custody level or your custody level. So they tell you take a class. So you start taking your different classes. Guys would come in and they just want the certificates. Like, look, man, I just want to get to a low. I just want to get to a camp. Right. I just need to take 2 classes every quarter. I need 4 certificates in the next 6 months, and they're going to lower my custody and go to a camp. There's a camp near my house. I want to see my family. Can you? But I don't want to sit through your class. And I go, okay, great. Give me 2 coffees and 2 creamers. I'll do all your tests, and you'll get your certificate. Cool.
Fair enough.
So I had this one guy, they called him Big Dummy. I hate to say this, but listen, it's the bulk of the guys locked up are black guys. So Big Dummy was a big black guy. Dumb as a box of rocks.
Big Dummy.
Everybody called. You could say, "Hey, Big Dummy." Yeah, what's up? I mean, it wasn't offended.
It wasn't short like BD or something.
No, it was Big Dummy. Everybody called him Big Dummy. So he came in and he never came to the class again. Came in once, signed his name, and then after about
came to the last week.
Never came to the class. And then what happened was you had to be signing in. So one of his other buddies was signing him in, and then it was a whole thing.
Here, doing your job.
Yeah, and then so he still missed. You could only miss 3 classes. He still missed like 5 classes. So he comes up to me just before the whole you're supposed to give your certificates, take the last class, and he comes in, and I said, and he said, "Hey, Cox, I got an issue. I've been going to class, but I understand that I can't, that I missed a couple classes. But I was there. I was like, bro, you're in my unit. Like, you're in my unit. I know you've been one time. I was like, look, he's like, man, how do I get a certificate? I said, okay, I'll sign you in. I said, I'll sign you in. And I said, I'll take the class for you. I'll take the test for you. I said, all you got to do is give me 2 coffees, 2 creamers. That's it. He's like, all right, I got you. So the last day comes, I sign him in, everything. He's got a certificate. He didn't even show up to get the certificate. So I go to him and I said, hey, man, you never got me the, he comes to me. He saw me. He was, hey, now I got a certificate. He goes, hey, man, I need my certificate. And I said, no, you never got me your coffee and creamer. No, I got you next week. I said, no, bro, I told you have to get it beforehand.
Well, you already got a certificate.
I already got a certificate. He doesn't realize that. He doesn't know how it works.
He's got credit and everything for it.
He doesn't know that, though.
Right.
He's an idiot. He's a big dummy. Big dummy got a big bag, by the way. Every single time he comes in from commissary with a huge bag.
Oh, yeah, he's a big dummy.
He's just an idiot. He's just not going to buy it to me.
Right.
So he's not going to buy me my stuff. So he comes in. I remember I said, hey, well, you don't have it. Where's my stuff? You never got it. And he's like, yeah, man, I got you next week. And I said, no, what am I, stupid? I said, no, I need my stuff now.
Right.
Well, I don't have it now. I said, well, I told you you had to have it before the last class. Well,
Right.
my money, I ain't got my money right, bro. I ain't got, no, bro. I see, you're in my unit. I see you with the bags. Every time you came in from commissary, I'm waiting for you to come give me my stuff.
Well, his extra money is what he means.
Right. And I have your money. So I'm like, yeah, no, bro, you're hit. What do you mean I'm hit? I said, you're hit. You're hit. There's no certificate.
Right.
And he said, nah, man. I said, listen, bro. I said, look, I said, you know what? I said, listen, man, just give me, I said, go around to the store guy and get some coffee. And I think he came back and he said, man, I got a bag of Pringles or something, whatever it was. It was worth like basically almost nothing. $3, you know?
I thought it was worth like $8 that you're charging.
No, it wasn't worth the same amount of money, but I already have the certificate. So I end up saying to him, okay, I'll just I'll take the Pringles. That's fine. And so I go in to get the Pringles and I give him his certificate and he's got my Pringles in his hand. So I go, here's a certificate. And he goes and turns around. And I go, he goes, man, get out of here. And I go, what? I said, oh, are you fucking serious? And he goes, yeah, man, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I snatched snatched it out of his hands. No, I snatched the Pringles out of his hands. And he went, oh, he goes, give me the Pringles. And I go like this, like I'm throwing. I said, go get it. Boom, like that. And his eyes go, oh. And so I lean over, but I didn't throw it. I still have it in my hand. So his eyes followed where it should have gone. He's, oh. And I snatched the certificate out, and then I dropped the Pringles on his bed and turned around and walk off. He goes, you fucking con man. You fucking. And he follows me in. So he follows me in my cell to grab. Like he thinks he's going to grab the certificate.
Right.
And I go, he goes, man, I need that certificate, man. I said, go get my shit. No, I said, I need that. I said, go get my stuff. I said, I ain't taking them. I want my 2 coffees and 2 creamers. Right. And he goes, nah, you give me that. That's my certificate. That's mine. And I tore it up. Oh, you should have seen him. And I said, this guy's huge, by the way. He's a massive guy, tall, big, and he goes, he said, man, I got team. He goes, I got team tomorrow. And I said, bro, you ain't got no certificate. I said, you're not in the computer. I said, I put you in the computer. I'm the one that puts you in. I don't, by the way.
Right.
So, and he was, you fucking con man. And he turned around and walked off, stormed off. So one of his buddies comes up to me like 5 minutes later and goes, hey, Cox, man, what's Big Dummy owe you? And I go, he owes me 2 coffees and 2 creamers. He goes, he said you tore up the certificate. Can you get him another certificate? And I went, yeah, I get him another certificate. What about putting him in the computer? And I said, You got the 2 coffees and creamers? He's like,
I put them in the computer.
I said, I'll put them in the
I
computer.
put them in the computer.
He goes off. He comes back. 2 coffees, 2 creamers. And I said, I'll put them in tomorrow.
What was his issue?
He just didn't want to pay. I don't know. He's just stupid. And he thought.
And he had money. And he thought he could just muscle his way.
Yeah, he's a soft white guy. And he's not going to this. And he going to do it. And he, there's always some idiot trying you. They're always trying you for something. You know what I'm saying? It's always get me that. So it's like, get me the, like, and I'm reasonable. I'm not overcharging anybody. This is reasonable.
Right.
Like usually it's under what you really could. I knew guys are charging $30 for I'm charging what? Less than $10? For a certificate. Guys are charging $30 for it.
And it lowers your points. You needed to lower your points.
Right. But there's always some guy who's like, they give you part of it and say, well, I got you after such as stop.
Don't do it.
Don't. Yeah. You don't understand how this works. I con you. You don't con me. That's how this works.
Not out of a certificate,
right.
At least. Yes.
Go to the store guy. They ain't got no commissary. Go to the store guy. It's like they're stupid. Like they think you're dumb. Like, I've been here 10 years.
Right.
You think I don't know? So anyway, yeah, that was fun. Same thing, selling certificates, just same stupid.
Dealing with different types of people.
Always some idiot.
Well, I went from the Pen back down to Jessup, the Medium, which was Jessup, Georgia. And the Jessup was supposed to be, I don't know if you ever heard about them. They're supposed to be sweet.
Yeah, Jessup. I mean, everybody wanted to go to Jessup.
It went from sweet to sour. It was basically Coleman without all the theft. They only have it's a light medium. It only has about like 600 people on the compound for the medium. And so it's kind of light. The chow hall is ridiculously small. And it was kind of sweet. But when I think about it, I had absolutely no problem with anybody there at all. I mean, none.
Right.
There was no. Now, I seen fights that I thought was hilarious. I mean, the inmates and the officers did a lot of fighting, which I thought was hilarious because the one fight, I think I was there about a week, and there was a fight in the unit, which I thought was, and let me just tell you about it real quick because it was funny. So these 2 guys are arguing about the television, right? I guess he's changing it, and so one's an old guy, one's kind of a younger guy. So the old guy's like, "Stop changing the TV," and he's like, "No, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna watch this." He goes, "I just want to see this end of the show." "No, stop changing the TV." So the old guy swings at him and misses, and the young guy gives him like a 2-piece, pop, 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 and lights him up pretty good, like in the eye. So the old guy wigs out. He gets composed himself, and he goes to his room. And he comes out with a knife, and he says, "I'm gonna stab you," right? So the young guy like, "Oh," so he's walking around the unit. So like
the old guy's following him,
and he's going around. He goes like, "Look," he goes, "before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna stab you." So the young guy so they're walking around the unit. So the whole unit is watching as this slow pursuit. It's not really a slow pursuit. But it's probably a speed walking pursuit about 5 times around the unit, right? So I guess the young guy gets tired. He tries to stop and put the chair in the way. And everybody's like, no, go. So the whole time, you have to know this officer. It's a bald-headed kind of like real kind of cop type of officer. He was a weird dude, the CO. He's in the office with the lights off because he's asleep.
Yeah.
The office door is open. Right? So the young guy, after 5 laps around the unit, he goes to the officers. He goes into the office where the officer is, right? And he tries to close the door. So as the old guy is chasing him, that's where I thought was hilarious because as he's trying to close the office door, that was the fastest I saw the old guy move. That's when he's going from a steady to and he gets in the office, and they're fighting inside the officer's office. So the officer's up, and he's spraying him, and he's going, "Stop! Stop!" He sprays them. He lights up the whole dorm. But the old guy ended up stabbing him. But they took them both out.
He still got him?
He still stabbed. But listen, the young guy beat him. Both his eyes were shut. But the old guy still stabbed him. In that institution, inmates fighting CO, probably about 13 incidents. It's unbelievable. Like we didn't fight each other too much. It was the inmates fighting the COs.
I gotta tell you, only because you mentioned the officer. So there's this an old man officer. There was an old guy that was actually my cellie at one point. His name was Frank Smith. I used to tell him this, that sounds like a made up name. So Frank Smith was old. He was probably 66, 67 years old. He was a sex offender. There was an older officer too, who's probably in his late 60s, 64, 65. And it turns out that officer had moved from prison to prison to prison because of complaints from inmates that he was harassing them, like sexually harassing them. Ooh. So the officer, one day Frank's walking by. Frank was in decent shape. He was in good shape. Had a white haircut or white flat top, and he was walking by and the officer goes, hey, mate, come here. What's your name? And he goes, Smith. And he goes, how long you been here? He goes, this guy just gotten there maybe a few months. The officer had been here maybe 3 to 6 months. And he goes, been here about 4 years. He goes, maybe 5 years. And he goes, huh. You work out? And he goes, yeah, I work out. I have a bad back. Sometimes I don't work out. But yeah, he said, yeah, you look like you're in pretty good shape. You work out when you were younger too? He's like, yeah, I did. And he's, well, what do you do? He starts talking, well, I go in the rec yard, I walk, and I also do dips, and I do this. Starts talking to him, and he's like, and Frank said, I don't talk to the officer. Like he doesn't talk to the officer, but the guy called him in. What am I going to do? And it's a low, and he's like, huh. Yeah, so how much time you got? Oh, I got this much time. And he's like, about 10 more years. And he's like, oh, yeah. It's a lot of time. Yeah. And he goes, and he's looking me up and down, like checking me out. And he says, Frank, he said, you're locked up. If a man has sex with another man, he said, you've been locked up. That doesn't make him gay. And he goes, and Frank goes, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It does. And he goes, and so by the way, so when I hear this whole story being dragged out, being told, Pete, my buddy Pete, and I are sitting at an area called Stonehenge. We called it Stonehenge. They had these round things with all these benches, and in the middle they had these concrete tables like this, but you had 4, and they're bolted. Everything's concrete. Right. So we're sitting there talking, and Frank comes walking over and finds me. This is in the middle of the night. This is like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Comes walking over. He goes, hey, he said, you're not going to believe what just happened. And I go, what? And so he tells us that whole story. And as we're talking, he goes, can you believe that? I go, what else happened? He goes, well, he told me that. I said, yeah, it does. And he goes, no, it doesn't. He said, you've been locked up a long time. I'm just saying things happen. You shouldn't feel bad about that. He goes, I don't feel bad about anything. He goes, look, I feel weird about this whole conversation at this point. And now keep in mind, Frank was meticulously, like he was well groomed. Frank's clothes Frank had a lot of money. Right. Frank in his commissary account had over $100 and something thousand.
Wow.
By the way,
you were allowed to have that much.
Oh no, it got really high. I mean, keep in mind, Frank had a lot of money. Frank sent me money when I got out.
That's right.
Frank sent me money.
You told me that.
You okay?
$2,000, 2,000.
No, not him. No, he didn't send me that. He sent me like $600 or $800, something like that. No, inmates in general sent me a couple thousand. Just inmates in general. Where it's like they would walk across the compound when they'd see my buddy P. They go, how's Matt doing? And people were like, oh, he's good. He's doing this. He's doing that. And so when I was setting up my website, Pete Pete would call and he said, well, what are you doing? I said, he said, well, is the website going up? I said, I can't. Peter, I can't. I was still in the halfway house. I'm in the halfway house. I can't do a website. He's like, why? I said, because I don't have a computer.
Right.
I don't have I started explaining all the problems. He goes, what do you need? And I went, well, I don't know. I need a computer. I need an iPhone. I need to buy Final Cut Pro. I need, these are things I need. I need Photoshop. I mean, these. And he's like, what does it cost? I said, it's like a couple grand for me to even get to the point where I can put together a website. And he goes, it's just because I don't, people are like, oh, you could put it up. Not if you don't have a computer.
Right.
People don't understand that. They're like, you should do this. You should do, how? They don't understand. I'm in the halfway house. Like, I've got an $80 phone that has a virus constantly. I can barely use it to call. I can't download apps. It constantly has viruses. So, I'm like, I need an iPhone. I need this. I need that. So I start going through the whole thing of all the things that I need. And Pete goes, okay, I'm going to get you the money. I was like, how's that? And he goes, I've been walking across the compound and everybody stops me and asks me, how you doing? How you doing? This happens 4 or 5 times a day. He goes, from now on, when they stop me, I'm going to say, you know what he needs? He needs a computer. He goes, he needs an Apple. He can buy a used one. It costs this much money. He needs one.
Right.
Did I tell you I ended up getting 2 Apples?
Phones or computers?
No, 2 computers. Oh. Frank gave me $600 or $700 for, I think $600 or $800. I'm not sure exactly what. Frank gave me that for an iPhone, my first iPhone. Like, I mean, these guys literally are, a buddy of mine's mother mailed me his old one.
Well, what was it they were planning on you doing?
Well, just they just wanted me to set up my website. I have a website called Inside True Crime.
Right.
They just, look, me, we're friends. There's 15 or 20 or 30 guys, but everybody in general knew who I was. They're all reading my stories. My stories are being passed from inmate to inmate to inmate. And all of them are like, what are you going to do when you get out? I'm going to try and get these things turned into documentaries, films. I'm going to spend the next 5 or 10 years pushing to get these stories made.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. And so what happens is, by that point, I'd come out in the Atlantic magazine. Guys, they believe in me. They want to see it happen.
All right. So that's what the...
Right. You know how many inmates get out and they don't do anything?
Yes.
I'm going to do this and this and this and this. Next thing you know, they're working at FedEx. They've got a chick with 2 kids, and that's it. That's it.
What about the end of your story about the officer?
So he comes to, so the Frank's telling us the story.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, he this, he that, he this. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so what'd you do? He's like, what do you mean what'd I do? I left. And I went, oh, Donovan Davis was there too. Donovan goes, I mean, Frank, it's an opportunity. And he goes, what? What do you mean? And Frank's, he's an old crotchety fucker too. He's like, what? What does that mean? And I said, I mean, Frank, you're not allowed to have, I said, the guy's, he's gay. The guy's a homosexual. I said, they've transferred him from another prison. And somebody else, Donovan's like, I heard he'd been transferred a few times. He's a problem. Like, he's like the priests. They move him around. You've had 15 parishes in 10 years. Yes. You're a problem.
You're a problem.
You're, so that's what they're doing with this CO. And I go, he's hitting on you. He goes, I know he was hitting on me. I said, right. So? And he goes, so what? I said, so you got 10 years left, bro. What does that mean? I go, it means you might have to take one for the fucking team. I mean, he's like, and I said, I mean, look, and Donovan says,
get a cell phone.
Donovan says, listen, at least give him a fucking reach around, He goes, give him a reach around. He said, I mean, what's the big deal? He goes, are you out of your sign? He goes, what's the big deal? And Pete says, save the sample. And I said, bro, he's not
on your shirt.
Lewinsky
him.
I said, bro, you got 10 years. That's a sex. I said, that's rape. And he's like, you sick fuckers. And we're like, we're laughing. I go, I'm telling you. I said, save the sample. I said, and Donovan's like, don't swallow. He said, fuck you, Donovan. And we're laughing. Pete's like, save the sample.
Spit it on your dress, on your shirt.
I'm like, look, you come in, you leave, you go to, I said, listen, what? I said, I'll write a letter to the fucking Times. We'll get an article made. I'll get you the publicity. We'll get you out, Frank. Fuck you. I'll do the time. What? You fucking asshole motherfucker walks out. Listen, that officer talked to him a lot. Well, he was constantly.
He got comfortable with him.
He was constant. Yeah. Well, the first time he talked to him, when he suggested it, because nothing happened to the officer, he got emboldened. So now he's really talking to Frank. Can you imagine? I mean, we were, and Frank the guy would stop him and say a few, and Frank would say, yeah, what's up? And then walk off, and I'd look at Frank and I'd go, and Frank would be like, fuck you.
I ain't trying to get nothing.
So funny.
All right, can we close this one?
Yeah.
Because my phone's going nuts.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
How long have you been?
We'll wrap it up. You want to wrap it up? You want to wrap it up?
Yes.
All right, you got to tell them to.
Oh, I don't know how to do wrap it up.
You tell them to subscribe. Say,
hit subscribe.
right. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Share.
Share.
Like the video.
Like the video.
And leave a comment for the algorithm. All right.
Thank you. This has been Matt Cox's True Crime.
Right. All right. And I'm Zach, and I appreciate you.
And I'm Zach, and I appreciate you guys watching in. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
See ya.